such a good word, actually, streaming.
What about it?
Well, um, well, I would be very interested about the genesis of that particular word.
He did not just do that.
Yes. Um, yeah, because it's similar. It's similar to current,
Oh yeah, yeah. Stream, current, flow. Yeah, yeah.
and it's all about now, right? So it's all they are all inhabiting the. They all see the now as something that streams, as something that moves, as something that flows, right? Uh, and there's a yeah, obviously there's streaming is a data stream as well, but it's pretty cool because it's obvious streaming is now. That's the whole idea, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh
it
yeah.
might lag a little bit, but it's basically
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Um, I'm just gonna. Oh yeah, I think I'm gonna do. So yeah, I wanted to do the sound check. What about Phil Collins?
sound check. That's a good sound check. Um, I want to say about Phil Collins that you know he was in the band Genesis, and I want to say, isn't that the most '80s title of a band or a name of a band ever? And then I was thinking, maybe not so much. Maybe I'm wrong. I won't say this out loud. And then I googled it, and then the genesis of Genesis in 1967. So yeah, okay, yeah. Well, I'm off by 15 years at least. So yeah,
Uh, okay, I checked the sound over that, and it is good. Um,
good enough.
no, no, it's good. I think it's very good. Um, yeah, if anybody has something to add to the sound, louder, quieter, I'll hear it. Yeah, and then I'm gonna do. Uh, I think uh, two social media posts, and I think then we can get into the groove of it.
The groove.
Let's then we can start jamming, jazzing, which is what we do, which is what we
Well, I
tend to
actually
do.
have something to, I actually might have a thing on jazzing and
Oh,
grooving.
fuck yeah. Yeah, give me these 2 minutes to do the social media, and then let's get into that, man.
And groove obviously has its etymology from, you know, records, right? Yeah, get into the groove. This is interesting, right? The word groove must have had its fuck it, I'll say it again. It's genesis from record, right? Where you put the needle in the groove.
Oh no! Never thought about this.
Must be, right?
Yeah, is it a groove? Is it a grove?
Oh yeah, maybe it's not a groove. Maybe it has nothing to do with the groove. Maybe it's
I
it's yeah, my lacking English.
I don't know.
Get into
I never
the
thought
groove.
about this.
Oh
Sounds
yeah,
a
it's
lot like.
Dutch probably a groove.
No, you should look that up. You should.
Yeah,
I
I will.
think. I think it is. I think it is. Um, gonna hit up that Discord live with
What? This is crazy. It's groove as it's Middle English denoting a mine or shaft, and then it says from Dutch groove.
There it is.
There it is.
Oh.
First cycle.
Hey man, you know I missed that about spiritual mischief. The word things. We haven't done word things in a while in our regular conversations. That's a spiritual mischief thing. Yeah. Huh. I like that.
Wow, this is a bit of a I'm on worddetective.com, and it's kind of a snobby reply to, like, this is an etymological snob. It says groove is, of course, a very old word.
Of course. I
Okay,
mean, sorry, buddy.
groove is, of course, a very old word derived from a Germanic root. Well, we have the Dutch, we have the Germanic, so we're basically the meaning pit, the same root which gave us the English word grave. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Get into the grave. Next Google question: is groover a word?
And am I a groover?
Next question. And I'll tell you the answer to whatever Google showed us as the answerer of the question, is groover a word? Yes, groover is in the Scrabble dictionary.
That's sweet.
Next question: who was Groovy? Oh, he was James Hutchinson, 21.
Oh, there's one
What?
guy. It's not just a bunch of guys who were groovy. It's this one guy who was
Who
groovy.
was Groovy? Well,
This
James
one guy.
and this is crazy because I want to quote a little bit of, or read a little bit of Nietzsche, and it has specifically to do with the next word, a wanderer. There's this thing about a wanderer that I just yesterday, being as a man alone by himself, and also Nietzsche writing the book with the same name, um, that you taught me. Um, yeah, there's a thing about a wanderer. But anyway, so who was Groovy? Well, who was Groovy? He was James Hutchinson, 21, a wanderer from Rhode Island who was known around the hippie haven of Tompkins Square Park by the nickname Groovy.
Legend, man.
Oh, and then it's Groovy Murders in 1967, when young wanderer and wealthy teen. Interestingly enough, 1967. I can tell you a little bit about 1967. It's the year of Genesis of Genesis.
There it is again. The fuck's going on? Messed that one up, didn't I? Fuck.
What is a groover person? A groover, plural groovers, colloquial, one who grooves or enjoys rhythmic music.
That is a groover, but certainly not the groover.
No, this is a groover person. No, the groover obviously is James Hutchinson, 21, a wanderer from Rhode Island.
We've established that. We've established that. I would definitely say.
So now you decide now, when you're done with your doings, if
Yeah.
if the thread to follow is in fact um, wanderer or jazzing.
Understood. I will do an Instagram story real quick, and then a tweet, and then I'm done with all this shit. I feel obliged to do it though, and then
Yeah, yeah.
I will
Tweet and story tell.
to my heart's delight.
Just turn around, and then you will have the endless Drosty effect, where you show yourself in the mirror of 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 the mirror,
Will I? Let's
and
see.
then oh, I actually try to lean into it. That's how fucking analog I am. I try to lean into something that I couldn't see outside of the screen.
That's nice. Okay, how I always feel awkward doing Instagram stories. Even worse doing them live on tape. Hello, we are live right now in my wonderful studio with my great friend Louis. He's here, and we are recording Spiritual Mischief, our new podcast. It's gonna be great. nice. Doing things, bro. Love to see it.
I also have a bit about. Well, I don't. This book has. And then I no longer woke up with the question, "What am I doing?"
But instead,
Now that's the last. That's the last line of something I might share today.
nice. I feel that. I feel
Yeah.
that right now. Actually, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we've worked a lot on what we are doing, right?
Okay. Shall I read it?
Not yet, because I'm not
Okay.
there, and I feel
No,
egoistically I will miss important bits.
you are not now.
No, I'm not now. Right now, I'm on the internet. That, and now there's just one more thing to do.
Do.
Let's see if I can do it like this. Yeah, nice. Thank you. I'm gonna buy an iPhone tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to it. It's gonna be my little on-the-go media production machine.
You don't have one?
No, I have my usual smartphone, but it's an old Android and it doesn't play well with many of the well, many of the
Play things.
we like. Yeah, yeah.
Are you gonna buy the new SE?
No, I'm gonna buy a 13 Pro. I think I'm gonna go full power because
That's yeah. Is that the latest? The
the
biggest? The strongest?
the latest, and it's actually I went to the Apple Store yesterday and it was released. It's well, they told me we're gonna release one in green on Friday, and I was like, I'll come back on Friday and get the green one then.
Green is the color. We did remember Kermit. We had a conversation on green. That was a good conversation.
Yeah, in the
That
lost
was on.
episodes.
Yeah, that was the. We talked about the the marketing, the commercial. No, the fuck, the guys
Oh,
who make commercials, right?
the advertisement man,
The advertisement.
the admin.
Yeah. And how they attain the idea of enlightenment.
And it
It's
had
not
something
easy
to do
being
with
green,
money.
man.
Huh?
It's not easy being green. That's the Kermit song.
That is an actual Kermit song, huh?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's funny as fuck. It's not easy being green.
You should have a you might write that on your iPhone. Hey man, it's not easy, man. And then once in a while, I would say maybe if you just lay your iPhone on the table in cafes, you might get one in a month maybe, or once every 2 months, you get a good hook, a hook for a conversation with someone who gets it, who
Yeah.
knows the song.
Who's like, lol, and points at your iPhone.
But
Lol,
that's
dude.
a
You
no.
get
But I
it,
think
bro.
it's a better one. I think it's a pretty strong connection.
I
But
mean, that's the whole thing about clothes and shit, right? It's like signaling for other people so they can say,
yeah,
oh, I get it.
yeah.
That's the whole thing,
Yeah,
right? It's
you
like,
together.
yeah.
Yeah, it is true. It's interesting because I'm doing this course now, and it's called In Between Worlds, right? In between, and it's all about how you need identity to create connection. Like you need to have a boundary. But if your boundary becomes rigid, you cut yourself off from the outside world. But if you open the boundary too much, you will lose your identity. So there's this continuous interplay between how far well, let's make it political immediately. How far do I open up the borders
Yeah.
for, to be in contact with the outside world? And there's this, and this is exactly a thing, right? Because signaling is, on the one hand, is saying this is me, so you're kind of holding off people, but at the same time, it's like an opening. It's like a door only, for Kermit people. That's kind
Yeah.
of the door, and
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
really small door. So if there are people who go there, it's like, wow, this is a very small connection. But maybe the smaller it is, the stronger, because it's a sub of a sub of a subculture. So it's like, it's so niche. This may be a thing where the smaller the niche, the stronger the connection. I don't know if this is true, but I feel there's something to it. There might be something to it.
Yeah, this might be true. I'm here now, by the way, Louis. I'm so happy that I think the stream is running. I think the fucking communications have been brought into the ether, and I've been waiting for this moment. It took me long enough, motherfucker. I want to get a bit better at that, or time it better. Fucking hell. That's
We have
one
5 minutes, right? We have 5 minutes left.
5 minutes left off.
Yeah, because it took you so fucking long, Simon.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm completely spent. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm.
All the juice is already gone. Look at your glass, half empty at least, bro. Look at all the.
pouring out shit, and yeah, you were a very bad container from. Well, you were an okay container, but you weren't spitting shit out to me back, and I want your shit-filled spittle in my face, Otherwise, I don't know what to chew on.
And you gotta chew on something. It's not like you can live in this horrible void of nothingness, I mean, it's not like you could be bored or something. That's illegal, bro. Nobody wants to be bored, homie. What are you talking about? So, no, we can't do that. Can't do that. Yeah, sorry about that. That's it, everybody. Spiritual Mischief. I'll see you next time. Bye! I really feel like on this desk, I'm this prototypical talk show host. I've got my little mic here, but it's not actually the mic that I'm using, because really I have like a little lav mic here.
Really?
It's just there. No.
Oh,
Imagine though. Because that's what talk show hosts do, bro. Like, they just have this cool metal looking mic, and then but they obviously have a lav mic here. So otherwise they couldn't walk around and still be captured.
And do you need your headphones, or is that for show as well?
No, that's so I can hear you. I mean, we could do it this way, and it's nice because, I'd have to listen to all your shit. But I would much prefer your shit as you prefer mine, so we are on the same page.
Yeah. Shit-filled spittle.
Shit-filled spittle. Spit meef. It meefs,
You meefs. Yeah, spit, yeah, meefs. Spittle filled with meefs. These meefs.
All this shit spit is like meefing. Meefing in me face. That's it, everybody. Ordinary order. That could be a name for a podcast. If anybody.
Ordinary order. I have a little bit on jazzy order, or I have on doing, or what am I doing? That's the last line.
The Wanderer.
Yeah.
Also.
Oh, and the Wanderer. Yeah, the Wanderer is kind of some. I mean, it's Nietzsche. Very. No, that might be a bit heavy, but yeah, it's good. Good.
I mean, you don't have to shoot your whole load right now. You can play a bit.
No, choose what to jerk. What load do you want now? What is? I mean, it's yeah.
Well, come on, hit me with the jazzing, because we've been. That's what we've been calling this.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, I guess the topic is our topic is always now. Is always okay. What's going on in life? And I drove here just a couple of hours ago, and this there was this pretty nice, vibrant energy, like a impulsy energy. It wasn't my day energy. It was like it was there. I was kind of singing, and but then I thought, I don't know why, but maybe because of a song, probably. And I got transported to this documentary I watched, and I told you before about this. It's a documentary of Nick Cave, right? And we talked about Nick Cave a little bit,
Yeah,
the
you read
singer,
his newsletter, right? You send it to me sometimes, and it's
yeah, the Red Hand Files. It's amazing,
the,
absolutely.
yeah.
Well, anyway, well, and he's had made a couple of documentaries about his
And
making music and life, and
he's the guy from Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, right?
that's
That's
it.
the Nick Cave. Yeah, I don't know this music at all, but yeah, understood.
And he also makes a lot of music with Warren Ellis. Uh, More about him later. But so and okay, so I got I, I could say I was transported back to this documentary, or I could say I remember this documentary. But it's a beautiful documentary. It's one more time with feeling. And the idea was that they were going to they were going to film the making of the new album. But then during or just before the filming and the recording of the album, his what one of his um, twin sons died,
Of
15 years old.
Nick Cave.
Uh, yeah,
Wow, that's horrifying. Fucking hell.
yeah, absolutely, like absolutely horrifying. But part of the beauty, the absolute beauty, and of the Red Hand Files is that he discusses his grief with people. So the whole idea of Red Hand Files is people send him letters,
Yeah.
and he reacts to those letters. And many, especially in the beginning, I think he started maybe 4 or 5 years ago, were about grief because well, and he was in it, but he's a poetic, absolute beautiful artist, and so he can give it. Well, he can give words to this well horrifying depths of agony, and so um, I actually when people around me or when loved ones or people close to me or people I know that are close to them have died in the last couple of years, I've kind of directed them sometimes to these writings where it's well anyway, so that's beautiful. And so this whole documentary, so the death of his son is not a topic of the documentary, but it's there, right? It's there. Obviously, it's raw as fuck. It's that. And then at the end of the yeah, so it's basically him recording this album. And at the end of this documentary, and it hits me every time. It's the credits roll, and you hear a recording of his two sons playing a song, and and the son that died is singing, and that's the last like 3 minutes of this documentary, and it's so beautiful because his spirit is in the movie, right? The loss is in the movie, but also his presence. Like that's crazy. It's both, right? His presence, even I would say, the grief is there, but also his presence. And then, but he's not there. And then there's this one scene. The way I remember it, it's been a couple of years. There's this one scene where his wife and his other son come in, and it's kind of like you. And where's the other one, right? You kind of with twins, especially. So that's the only moment where there's this when there's a noticeable absence, and then at the very end he's there, not in image, but in voice, and wow, and that's just I felt I knew I'm kind it's kind of like I did I was watching it and I didn't know, but he was there and it was so beautiful and wow. Well, so anyway, um, yeah. So oh yeah. So that happened on my way here, right? So I was there again, and but that wasn't. It's yeah. It's beautiful, right? Grief, or because it's the other side of love. So it's filled with love as well. And so I was thinking about that, and then I came here, and I was looking at my book books books books
Your boeken, as the Dutchman would say.
booken.
Yeah.
That's weird. And I saw this one.
Yeah, Nina Simone's Gum, Warren Ellis. And Warren Ellis is the collaborator of Nick Cave. That's what you said.
Yeah, and I bought this book. I think it's relatively new.
The the what? What is relatively new?
Het boek,
Het,
dit boek.
het boek. Ah, gefeliciteerd. Dankjewel.
Dank u, dank u. And oh yeah, oh yeah, so much to tell. So anyway, so I saw this book and I was like, hey, wait a minute, there's the connection. And I'll tell you. Should I just continue on the connect on this thread because it's
Yeah,
because
please.
I will tell you. I will tell you. There's another a other documentary that was that's older, and that's called 10,000 Days on Earth. Also Nick Cave. And
Sorry,
in that
by
documentary,
the way, what's the first one you talked about? What's that documentary called?
I think it's called One More Time with Feeling.
Okay.
And the newsletter, and you have to. You don't have to. You have to subscribe. The Red Hand Files, man.
Hey, let me ask you.
Anyway.
I have a question in between. How
Yeah.
does one read newsletters well? Because I don't have an
Yeah.
email account where where there's space for newsletters. And being a budding newsletter writer, I'm like, yeah, I should have that so I can read other people's shit, right? It's like as the artist in me progresses, I've been thinking of like, how do I support other artists in the ways that I would like to be supported, like bring a bit of golden rule to the table. And well, one of the things that I know is that I'm not reading anybody's shit, and I want people to read my shit. So that feels a bit unfair. Not entirely. I'm cool with, I'm cool with but and there are some things that maybe I want to read because maybe some people are telling me, hey, you have to. You don't have to, but you have to. Subscribe to
You have to, but you won't. But you have to.
Yeah. Non-coercively forcing me to subscribe to this newsletter. So that's a question. How do you do that? You just have your regular email account and it's clean?
Well,
is your email account clean?
I mean, let's start at the root, Simon, because it won't work if you're not reading newsletters. I mean, okay, obviously
That's
there
true.
are structures. I'll get to the jazzy structures in probably in 45 minutes, but there are obviously structures to. And I think you told me we talked about this a little bit. I mean, aren't there at least? I'll get into the. I may actually get into your question. But aren't there like these periods where you're open and you want to devour information, and then there are periods where, well, like we talked about before, when it's closed because there's so much inside of you that needs to be spit meaved out that there's just no. I mean, I've had this for the first time in my life last year. It's like, huh? I'm not really reading. I'm not really reading anything. It's cyclical. It's as life is. There are periods when there's a lot of room and space to eat, and sometimes there's sometimes you have to shit.
Yeah, that's true. From your mouth.
It's spittle, my friend.
Shit me, man. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Well, whatever. Why don't you? Yeah, because I don't think I'm gonna read I read the Red Hand Files when you send them to me, and I'm actually very happy with that.
Well, that's the system then.
That is the system, and I've read them every time you've sent them to me. Sooner or later, I've always
okay.
Because that's also I do this with Zebi and Leon as well. They're like, most of the time they send me memes, and then I opened up a meme group between the three of us. So now we're always memeing. Especially Zebi is a strong memer, And I'm so happy because I don't have to go to a meme page or something, because I don't care what a meme page is telling me, selling me. But I really care the memes that Zebi or Leon sends me, so because they think it's funny. It's curated. I love people
Yeah,
curating
you
shit
have
for
your
me.
yeah, you are being curated.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah, that is kind of perfect.
Yeah.
Is there a meme on Mimi?
Mimi?
Yeah, is it a does anything open up? Because just today I was walking with a friend of mine, and she talked about her friend who had a daughter,
Who had a son? Who had a dog? Yes?
and he said Mimi all the time.
What? Oh,
he,
instead of
bar-
instead of meme?
he he barked. He barked Mimi.
Oh, the dog?
No, the daughter.
Oh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
The
the
daughter's
daughter,
name. The daughter. The daughter's name was Mimi. Mimi. And I
and
and I was
the
thinking,
daughter just said his own name all the time.
yeah, they just decided, well, fuck it, let's call her that then.
Yeah. It's like a Pokemon.
Oh yeah,
Creatures.
do they say their own names?
Yes. Yes. Only.
Are they? But do they? But so then, do they have names, or is it a genus? Is it a species? So is the famous one? Uh,
Pikachu.
yeah. Is Pikachu a Pikachu?
Yeah. And all
Oh,
Pikachus say Pikachu. Yeah. All the time. They can't say anything else. Except for this one cat Pokemon, Meowth, which grew up with humans or something and learned to talk. But I think that's a narrative. What do we say? Like a narrative use case.
but is Meowth is also a Meowth?
It's a Meowth, but it's one special Meowth that can talk. Not all Meowths
The
can
other
talk.
the other Meowths are just meowthing all
They
the
say
time.
Meowth, yeah, like regular Meowths. Like we all know our Meowths. Yeah, 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 yeah. And some Pokemon also make like noises. Like a Charizard doesn't always say Charizard. It sometimes just says "Whoa" when it spits fire at other.
Yeah, okay. Like it can grunt, like it can
Yeah,
make other sounds than its own
correct. But it
species.
can't say
Yeah.
other words.
No, no, no. Well, I mean, there are many examples of animals that we have named after their after what they say most of the time, or I must not say, but what sound they make.
Like the tiger, who's always like tiger.
Exactly, and don't forget the Mimi.
Not to forget the Mimi. Yeah. Mimi's curation, Redhead Files, another
Red
documentary, 10,000 somethings.
10,000 Days on Earth, and also on the newsletter thingy, I have actually tried to create because I do read a newsletter now and then, and have been doing that for, well, I would say at least 15 years. Um, and I have tried to create maps within maps to folders within folders where you can have different new. That didn't work. That
In your
didn't work.
email?
So now,
Yeah.
yeah, in my emails where I would where oh the news I would have a newsletter map folder, and then the idea being I would check that so it won't be plundering my whole email account. But that
Yeah.
didn't work because then I didn't open up the folder. So it needs to be, oh yeah, there it is. Oh yeah, there it is. There it is. So there's this again, this balance of I don't like all these newsletters in my inbox. Anyway, that's the boring shit. So back to um, oh yeah, 10,000 Days on Earth. That's the first documentary of Nick Cave actually that I saw. And in that documentary, there's this scene where he is at his friend's house, his collaborator friend called Warren Ellis. By the way, Nick Cave and Warren Ellis make music, and one of the that's how I know Nick Cave. one of the soundtrack. They made a soundtrack for the beautiful movie, the assassination of the coward of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. Um, and they made a soundtrack, and it's a beautiful soundtrack. And that soundtracked my whole 9 years of trying to study philosophy. So
What's that
uh,
soundtrack called? That soundtrack your whole 9 years? The whole 9 yards?
yeah, it's the movie is called The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. Absolute beautiful movie.
Mm.
Um, well, that's a whole different story. But I saw that with a friend of mine in the perfect state of being for that movie to enter into my sphere of mind at that moment, and it has never left me. And it was a perfect viewing. There are perfect viewing experiences, right? It's so dependent on where you are at when you watch a movie, how you communicate with them, how that movie, you know. Well, anyway, so yeah, 10,000 Days on Earth. It's the yeah. So the document, and he's visiting Warren Ellis, and it's Warren Ellis kind of maybe I don't know. He doesn't look like you, but he kind of looks like you, right? With a beard and but he has this small house. So you have the feeling that the house is at a steep cliff somewhere in England where it's almost this magic little house with a kettle, and everything is wood and a hearth and everything. And they sit there and they talk about and Warren Ellis and they talk about a concert they both were at. And does he look like you? Yeah, he does look like you.
Yeah, I mean, give me a couple, but yeah, not bad
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
He plays he plays rock.
Look at this.
He
Wait,
plays rock and roll violin, man. He's so good.
wait. Look at this. Oh, that's too funny.
Oh yeah.
Is it a familiar backdrop? I mean, that's like funny, right?
Oh, right. Oh yeah, that's amazing.
Oh, that's funny.
Wow.
That's funny.
And you can do your beard like that. You can.
Oh
That's
yeah,
amazing.
my beard can easily split in half. Swoop. Yeah. Or is that what you meant?
Amazing. Yeah. And then he had some things in it, right? Seemed
Yeah.
like it. And he,
Well, I think he's just a scraggly type.
yeah, he is.
Well,
He
he
is.
looks great. I love this. If I look like this at some point, roughly speaking, I will not complain. I mean, I'm even trying to
Oh,
skip ahead to that level, right? I'm like trying to find the cheat codes, how to look like a fucking old ass sage. Oh
yeah.
shit.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah. So him. So you can just now imagine the house, surrounding him. It's. Oh, by the way, he has a newsletter. Obviously, that I read once a year, and I have been reading it. I just now realized I have been reading it again for the first time in years. The last couple of weeks, and he's living this life where he's just writing and he's doing a lot of for graphic novels and shit. And I think he lives pretty much at night, which fits. But anyway, so there's this scene, and and you can see this is on YouTube, and it's great. And they sit together and they just do what we do, spitting meat, and they in a bit more of a sophisticated manner, maybe. But they
I disagree. I whatever that might be, I don't believe it. But please go on.
more gentleman-like. I don't know. Anyway, British. He's Australian. Okay, fuck it. Um, um, yeah, and they have this conversation, and it's on YouTube, and you shouldn't, but you could, you maybe.
I
What
might want to.
and they talk about they are at this Nina Simone concert, right? And and uh, and I think Nick Cave talks about that this was this momentous concert where I mean he was struck, by well bliss and the divine going through the music of Nina Simone and and then Nick Cave says yeah and then you remember her like being there and she's Nina Simone, big energy, big motherfucking big energy, like And yeah, and she was sitting. So Nick Cave, and she was sitting there at the piano. And before she started, she got out her gum and she put it under the piano. And then Warren Ellis says, "I have that gum." And Nick is like, "What? You have that gum?" Like, I have that gum. And then there's this, and then there's this. So I'll talk. Okay, and so that's crazy, right? And it's like, yeah, no, I got it. The moment it was over, I hopped on stage and just took it off there, and I still have. And then there's it's
That's
so good.
hilarious.
It's so good, and yeah, that's just that. I mean, this story. I mean, this is everything you need to know, right? This is life. Like this is what life can be, right? I mean, this is so out of boundaries where you think that how does this happen? And then there's this one more anecdote, and I just have to share it, and it's on YouTube, and it's well, but it's like so Warren Ellis was kind of I guess kind of working for the festival, something like that. I don't know. And then and then he remembered that at the end of the concert, and then Nina Simone was back at the at her dressing room, and then she was like sitting there, like whoa, like sweating, big and smoking probably, and then Warren Ellis was like, well, Miss Simone, you know, can I get you anything? And she was like, wow, she was sitting there, and was like, I want some champagne, some cocaine, and some sausages. I
That's
mean,
goddamn right.
it's
I knew cocaine was going to be on that list, but
I mean, that's that combination. Just imagine, just sprinkle some cocaine on the sausage, and then just swirl it away with some champagne. Anyway, yeah. Well, I mean, this is interesting because this scene pretty much it kind of sums up Nina Simone in a way, where it's like, and it kind of sums up all. I would say I don't know that much about Warren Ellis, but it does say a lot about someone, right? Um, and um, Yeah, and then I saw the book, just now, and this book I bought it like a month ago and I haven't read it, and but I thought that's cool because oh
Nina
man, yeah,
Simone.
that's Nina, and you have many Nina Simones, right? But this is a strong one. You have the if you want to look it up, if you want to see her perform, there's this 67 or 76 Montreux Festival, and that's just amazing. And then she sings the song I wish I knew how it would feel to be free, and it's there. Oh man,
A
there's a great
sculpture.
documentary on her on the Netflix.
A character.
Yeah, character. She's amazing. She's just, I mean, that's just a force of nature, and she really let music play through her, right? Like, there's this quote from I don't know, kind of no, what is it? What's the well, I forgot the band. Uh, yeah. That's big Nina Simone.
Yeah.
Pwah. Gotta be scared, right? She was taunting the audience. Like she was always like she was in a way she was daring the audience. Like she was so much channeling the creative energy, where that was all there was. I mean, this is what from what I when I watch the videos, right, or the performances. It's so much more than Nina Simone in a way, right? And she kind of knows it. In that one festival, she said, "Oh, the spirit's moving now," and you see that she's being taken over. She's being
She
taken
says
over
it?
by this. Yeah. She says it.
No, man. It's crazy.
I mean, if you listen to that, that's great because crazy shit happens during that concert. She's just starting a song like Stars, and it's very beautiful. And then all of a sudden, it's, sit down, girl, sit down. She stops playing, and I don't know what happened. Probably someone just got up right in the audience, and she's like, no, and you feel the tension like in the room, like Sit
Wow.
down, girl. Yeah, like pay not me, but pay some respect. Be reverent to the art. It feels bigger. It feels bigger than the ego.
Uh,
It's don't do this. You don't get up now.
that's funny, man. Yeah, there's so much. I'm glad you impart this knowledge. There's so much. I want to one. If I want to consume one thing more, it's like on the lives of artists because that's, I think, I really need to watch the Kanye documentary. I watched episode 1 and I kind of want to unsubscribe from Netflix because there isn't yeah, but maybe I should just start using my Netflix subscription well and watch some documentaries on Nina Simone and Kanye and who not what. Um, it's just incredible to see this. Well, the thing that we're going through, I suppose, that all these people went through that, through phases of finding, phases of doing, phases of pushing, phases of doubt, phases of highs and lows, and just this seeking and finding, realizing, forming, making, throwing away. That's a whole thing. Um, I love the Kanye bit. I loved the first episode of the Kanye documentary because what I didn't know about him was the bit that he was already not minted, but he was doing well, right? He made beats for people. But then he also wanted to be one of those people. Um, and he got decent recognition for the beats, but not, not a fraction of what Kanye wants. And that, yeah, I feel a bit like that. I used to be helping the people, streamers, whatever. And then, but there was a big thing of like, yeah, I don't even know how to, whether it's legal. I like to use these terms at the moment. Legal, illegal. Is it legal? Is it possible to be one of them? I've got a place here. That's my place. And last 4 years or so are like trying to really disintegrate from that, like really moving back from that. And I didn't try to hop into another place from that place. I tried to go all the way back and then straight go to the new place type thing. And Kanye in the documentary obviously goes straight from one to the other because he has to. He has to keep moving, keep hustling. And that was amazing. Just a bit that
Hmm.
he's not, this wonder child or not this. He obviously is, but doesn't get straight in but he does something. He's like a worker, a hustler. I don't know. It's super cool. I enjoyed that. And every time, man, you can see on tape the spirits moving. It's so crazy, bro. Like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Whatever the bit you told about Nina, I mean, if you watch, like, I mean, that was 1.5 years ago when we did the lost Spit Meef episodes. Um, at that time, I think I was watching the Jay-Z in the studio with Rick Rubin video, or Kanye in the studio with Jay-Z, or whatever. Like a couple of those things. I was watching that shit like 5 times a day. That was the year where I, on your mark, also listened through the entire Jay-Z catalog, right? And then listened to the Blueprint every morning for weeks. And there's just the Jay-Z in his element to film that. That's crazy. and part of me still doesn't know that exists, you know? Like part of me still doesn't know. I'm still like I know, right? I know, but you know, to really go there, to have access to that, you know, to show up, to be in the place where you can pick up Nina Simone's gum, you know? That's a good thing, you know? Then you're there, then you're with it, then you're on it. Yeah. Yeah, there's something that of of all these stories you told that really draws me, and I feel like I could feed myself much more with info and knowledge and feeling for these artistic situations to be closer to this moving spirit, because that really feeds me. When I see that, I'm like, no way he just fucking, hey, what if we do the 99 problems, right? Rick Rubin goes to Jay-Z like, hey man, what if we do the he's like this bit bad posture back then, you know, didn't get, wasn't that healthy. It's like with this long hair and this crack, hey Jay, you know, like kind of cool but still really white, you know. Hey Jay, so I was thinking if we do the acapella, you know, if you're having girl problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but and then we do that acapella, and then we go, boom, and then it's like Jay-Z is like, huh, it's gonna be something special. And goes away and kind of says this really cool, over the top yes to it, but it's definitely not. Good idea, Rick. I think we should really do that. Let's lock that in. You know, he doesn't say that. He's Jay-Z. And he's like, you know, probably getting a haircut at the moment. Might be something special. Yeah. Hope. And yeah, you know, the track that's born that moment, right? It's crazy that moment's on tape. It fucks with me head, bro.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's amazing when it's there, when it's taped, when you see the magic happening, and because there's also this other side to it, and this has helped me. Like I feel like I know exactly what you're saying. Where there's this part of you that knows, right, that it might, no, it knows that it is an artist, and then there's this whole world, you know, buried above it that says, nah, maybe not, you know, probably not, you know. So this thing, right, and there's also this when you see that, for me, when I saw the process, and there's this also this podcast, right? It's called Song Exploder, where you hear artists, singers talk about the genesis of songs. And so there's the two sides to it. One, it's magic and it's spirit and it's what? The other side, oh, they're just regular human beings doing this shit. So because it's also like, oh, he got an idea and he just followed the idea through. In a sense, it's not much more than that. Um, and so those two things, that's what kind of helped me. Like, oh wait, they're just really following it. They're just really taking it. They're taking it fucking serious. Like they're taking it. It's the most serious thing in the world. Like that's the difference. Where it's like, oh, it's a nice idea, and then you just go to your job or go to whatever you were doing, and
that's what happens so often, right? Like I remember
yeah,
this for years where I was in uni and I was like, I had this meme in my head. I'm not that creative or something because I was in a band with Zebi, right? And he was just this crazy musical genius, and I was feeling so small next to that.
yeah,
And then I was in uni and I was like reading about entrepreneurship and blah blah, and I was like, this could be a business idea. That could be a business idea. And then it's like, yeah, correct, Simon. You know, and then you don't go after anything. And that it wasn't the things that I meant to go after. So that's fine because, you know.
yeah,
But at the time I was in this student, startup, haha, cool. That's what I knew
Yeah, yeah,
as like,
yeah.
oh, maybe that's my area, right? And then I
Right.
remember
But
having these ideas and not following them all the time, right? Like, yeah,
yeah, but there is this different. I think there's a difference between, because I think what the true artist, or whatever, the art that has evolved, where it can delineate where it's, oh, might be a cool idea, to wait, this is the stream that I have, this is the voice I have to listen to. Like, when you can make that, when you know, when you can delineate between concept ideas that are good or whatever,
yeah,
and between the stream that flows through your soul.
yeah.
And then, because that's only like the very first step, and that's crazy difficult to find and to understand. But then the next step is actually listen to that, like, oh wait, give space to that voice, give space to that. That's the And I think that for some people, it's been it's been obvious, like. And also, in a thing that I might read today, it really touches on this. It's where it's like, you have to do this. And I wanted to tell you one more thing about the documentary of Kanye, if I may, because there are a billion threads that I want to follow, and this one is, I mean, but next to the Donda West scenes, which got me fucking crying every time, because just the
She's so
amount of
good.
love, and that's, I mean, I cannot. Okay, that's the true shit. I mean, that's the shit.
That's
But
love.
and then the others, and then the other scene where I think it's, and it's touching on what we were talking about, is, for me, is so great. Is where he walked into, you know into the record, into the, what's it called, the
Rockefeller
Rockefeller,
into
right?
Jay-Z's company.
And he walks into, and there are much more stories, many more stories about how he jumps on the table and he starts rapping, and he just started rapping, and you see that it's taped, and you see the reaction, right, of the people, of everyone working there, and he's being, I mean, it's horrendous in a sense, where he's just being ignored, and it's really, and but you see, and I find this, there's this moment, and you see both sides, what we are talking about, you see that just fighting within Kanye. It's like you see the the defeat, like, but the outside is defeat, and the inside is, no, 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 I'm right. No, 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 they're crazy. I'm right. They're crazy. I'm right. And then he builds himself up. Okay, let's go to the next door. And he does it again. And again, he's being ignored. One of the worst possible things a human being can be, like, being ignored when you, no, being ignored when you show yourself, your weak, when you show your all. I mean, that's that's the most painful thing you can imagine. Almost, it's so, that's the reason why people don't show their voice, because they are afraid that this will happen, and it happens to him, and you see the defeat in his eyes, but you see the other side of him saying no. Huh? But you see also the confusion. You see the confusion happening within his. It's. I find that it's so, and it's exactly what we're talking about. And that's just Kanye West, right? Where the inside is just is this dragon power, and it has to, like,
And let me let,
and
let
it,
me ask you this: do you think in these moments, because what I was just thinking about this scene, right, is like he goes in and, well, I mean, maybe it's a sign of the time because he walks into an office uninvited, right? He like shows up, he makes a little move, he goes on the turf, It's like, well, we here now, It's like a territorial rapper, like kind of a power move. And I mean, there are like the chicks there on the phones ignoring him. I mean, they're just some girls working at Rockefeller. Like, in a way, I think there's a mistake in this whole like, the thing is dramatized properly, and it does reflect what was happening to Kanye at the time. But if I'm thinking, in my Carnegiean how to win friends and influence people and how to do things right and how to have a smooth entry into things, it's like, well, but he's also being a bit of a bum, right? Like, there's something really dumb about it. He's not setting himself up for success in that, right? Like, is that right?
Yeah, I would say it is awkward what he's doing. It's really awkward, and
Yeah,
he doesn't. But it's yeah. But I would say that's the other like yeah that's the other part of what's going on, right? That's because the other part of what's going on is but he's desperate, right? He's also desperate. He is also banging at it for so long, and he's being ignored, and so
yeah.
it's
So he
it's a
has to make
it's
some sort of move, right? Yeah,
yeah. It's like
yeah. Now I'm just gonna walk in here, and they're gonna think this shit is fire. And the strange thing is, well, nobody says, "Well, Kanye, that shit is actually pretty good." But then again, if you're on the they are kind of on the defensive. Like he's
they are in
walking into
defense.
their, it doesn't make sense.
Doors are
And
closed.
I
Like
have
yeah,
one thread inside of me about the thing you said about when the spirit moves, when the thing shows up, when
yeah,
learning to hear that. And that's something that I'm there's I wanted to bring it to us, and a bit uh, there's a thing there that's there's a practice element where in the beginning you don't know the sound of the spirit moving, you don't know the sound of his footsteps, you uh, can't discern it, like you said. You know, you can't discern an idea from the really important thing. You can't even notice something really important happening. You might actually feel bad. I remember feeling sad many times when my spirit moved, because I probably conditioned myself to not react to my spirit moving, so it would just start to take me over in a way. Like, and one comparison that I have is that this is happening now. I've been really busy recently in a very good way. Like I'm filled with like work, and I'm filling my time with work, and I hope, pray that it's the right things to do, and it seems like it for now. Uh, Time is almost the same thing. There's like this thing of like, no, when you learn to hear this, well, if we call it the spirit moving, let's call it that for now. When you hear the juice flowing, the spirit moving, and
the
you're like
wanderer walk.
the wanderer walking, that's a threat. Um, then you have to pay your attention to it. I watched this just a little bit of a Tim Ferriss episode, just like 3 minutes or something in the beginning, where he asked this elderly, renowned writer or something, don't know her name, about poets and writers, and she says, yeah, writing is more like a day job where you have to sit down, make it happen. But then that's why people don't like poets, and she jokes that um, a poet might just be sitting by the window and hear the spirit moving, and then you want something from them, like that the milk is empty and they should get some, and then they say shh, shh, you know the spirit is moving, leave me alone. and
Yeah,
and so the you have this duty to the spirit, because it doesn't always move. It's the Stephen Pressfield thing of like, sit down for work so that when the muse shows up, you're there to receive it. It's one of the best
yeah,
advices, right? And well, I have the same with time now, because there's a scarcity. There's at the same time there's an infinite thing in the moving spirit, right? Obviously, it's your inner power. It's huge.
yeah. When it moves, but it's different. When it moves, it's timeless.
Oh yeah,
Then
and
then you're out. When you're there, you're out of time. But
yeah,
that's only then.
but for that, you have to be there at the time it moves, because that
Right.
is not timeless. And then you have to um, know what to do also, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, we're
Yeah.
here right now. We set everything up. Now we can do this. And then we can hope that the spirit may move us while we talk. And I might feel it walking a little bit around here. So we have made the space, delineated the space, and everything from here on out is like. I mean, I had a nap from 4 to 6. This is arguably not my strongest day. I was feeling a little. I allowed myself one or two yawners during this, you know, but doesn't matter. We said it. We are here. There's not this. Oh, maybe not right now. No, there's a duty to it, and I feel the same with time at the moment, where it's like if I have the energy to do something, and I feel like, oh yeah, it must be now. It must be now, because later I won't have it. Later it won't be there, and then uh, it's so strange. It's like for me recently, like it's like time became incredibly valuable. Like just like this currency of the spirit, just like this. Well, most of the time, maybe the spirit isn't there, so you better be ready and move with it. When you better immediately embrace it and dance with it when it's there, because I mean you only have so many opportunities, and I'm feeling the same with time now. Whereas in the past it was just like, yeah, whatever, there's always time. I still feel that in a way, but right now the importance of the hour, of the minute, because it's allocated, it's assigned to things, man. Yeah, I feel so good, and
If,
it
if
feels so good.
if time is valuable in your life, like if you feel that time is valuable, you're doing well.
Is that so? Will you say so?
I would say, because that means that you use your time with the things that you want, you need to do. You're filling it with valuable stuff. Like it's because that's literally what you say. Time is valuable now. It's like, all right, I don't have, because you don't have. So you then you know that there's something to put into that time.
It's
Because
like you're
when you're
actually
slack,
in a relationship with time in the first place.
because there's something to do within the time. You know that there's something to do within that time, and then it becomes uh, a a bordered entity. Because when you feel like I can do it tomorrow or the day after, it's there's no value to time. Like that's the value of death. That's what we get from death. I mean, it's the biggest gift. It's one of the biggest gifts that life gives us is death.
The big frame. Yeah, but and that's like small circles, right? You start
Yeah.
realizing that if there are some things that if you don't do them today, something just dies. It's not going to be you as a whole, but there's a bit that dies, and that's
And
something that.
also Groundhog Day, right? Tomorrow is, I mean, that's the beauty as well. There's always the reset button. There's not you cannot get yesterday back, but there's also, okay, here's another chance. Okay, have another go. Okay,
Do it
have another
again.
go.
Do it again.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
again.
that's I love that. I mean, I cultivated that much, but it's both. Obviously, there's both the infinity in it, and there's the absolute terrible scarcity, and there's well, you can put them both in like terrible ways, which is that it's infinite, so it doesn't matter, and it's scarce, so I should be terrified. And what is it all for? And then there's like the opposite frame that puts both in front of your wagon, which is like, well, there's
And
infinite, so don't worry, and it's super scarce, so you better get to it.
and that enters into it the moment you can hear the spirit walk, because the spirit is not just for me the muse or the inspiration, but it's also the divine spark of value of your life, right? That it's, oh, there's something to be done. There is, I, as a vessel or whatever, there's something of value to be created in this world. And I mean it in the most broad sense, right? It might just be being. It's not per se a project, or but it is following of this of yeah of this little spirit dude that's like always like whispering, like, hey, you might, hey, you might wanna call Simon tonight, like, nah, I feel tired. Nah, maybe you could do it. Fuck off. Fuck off.
And then one time you will know that part of the proposal is, hey, if you do what I say, I'll give you mad energy. It's gonna be nice. Trust me.
I'll give you a feeling of worth and connection. Like
Hey,
what? That's
nah,
pretty
leave me alone. I want to
good.
sleep. I want
I
to
will
play
give
video games and jerk off.
I have meaningful connection to offer to you, sir. Get the fuck out of here.
Fuck out of here. Who do you think you are? Some kind of little spirit dude?
Go sell this shit to the neighbors.
I don't think so, buddy. Get off my property.
Get off my lawn.
Uh,
Yeah, and this is literally what we all do
hey,
all the
Uncle
time.
Bill. Hey, Uncle Bill, I think sometimes I have a little spirit dude talking inside of me.
He's offering me all weird type of shit, man. He's offering me a true connection to other people.
Ah, shut up, Timmy. Little spirits dudes ain't to be messed with. We don't take kindly to them folks around here. We don't like them little spirit dudes. Just fucking do your work and fucking bring your old Uncle Bill a glass of it. Okay, Uncle Bill. Okay, sorry.
I got my special 12 gauge spirit 12 gauge here.
Spirit dude.
Bring me my whiskey and bring me my other drugs and some food.
Shut up. Shut up, you little shit.
Turn on the TV.
Stop talking to them spirit dudes, man.
Don't listen to those spirit dudes. You hear me? Don't listen to those spirit dudes. They got me in all types of trouble.
I don't want to hear these of those spirit dudes ever get in my house. As long as you set your foot under my table, there won't be no talk of no goddamn spirit dudes.
Okay. I will go to the bathroom.
This is a fantastic timing for that. A little break for everybody.
A little.
All you little spirit dudes out there, go take a little break. As will we. Oh, how pleasing the fire. Ooh, love to see that. Love to see the fire. Mm. I need one moment for some water.
You need more fire then?
All right. Hello, my spirit dude.
Sure, dude.
Spirit dudes unite, bro. Ah,
With the blanket.
I'm very happy. This is the talk show host I aspired and aspire to be. Cozy. All the talk shows I host are cozy.
Gezellig.
Gezellig. Learn from the best. I've got some cookies too, man.
Oh fuck. Yeah. Only a bad cookie. Bad cookie. Bad cookie. That's a good name.
It's like a punk band.
Yeah.
Cookie.
You know the etymology of cookie, right?
No.
Koekje.
Oh, little cake, koekje. From Dutch.
Koekje. The Yanks took it from New Amsterdam to New York, and then koekje became cookie, and that's
Mother.
why it's only a U.S. word, and it's not a because otherwise it's biscuit.
Mm-hmm.
British biscuit.
Motherfucking Yanks, bro.
Yeah, man. They took her words, man. Took her words.
Oh, Louis. I made a capital mistake.
You have not been recording.
I think so. What the fuck? How's that possible? How's that a mistake I'm making today? What the fuck? Yeah, well, that's ridiculous. I mean, every fucking idiot. Oh my god. Every idiotic Discord conversation I can record, but when we work on our Genesis, I miss it. That's dumb. I'm gonna need to work with some checklists or something. The mundane, the mundane, uh, the mundane reality of the artist. Still got to make sure that equipment is
How
running.
many how many absolute masterpieces, have been deleted or have not seen the light of day because of simple many, right? So many.
Uncountable.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? Uncountable amounts of absolute masterpieces have not been seen, and you can feel it in the pit of your stomach, right? All these moments, the thesis after 2 years, and then it just happened with so many people. It's I know one of many, well, a couple of writers actually, where they threw away their whole manuscript, and you have this Russian writer, Bulgakov, I think, and he wrote the Master and Margarita. It's an amazing book. But anyway, I think, or it no, I think it's he was com- continuously throwing away his finalized manuscripts, but I think his wife saved them like multiple times from its own destruction. Right? This is yeah.
Hmm.
Anyway, oh, the feeling. It's just, and there's this story um, of this Zen monk, of this Zen monastery, and this Zen monastery was in a Zen tradition, dating back thousands of years, well, a thousand years, and part of its lore and part of its, what's the word? It's one of the reverent objects, right? It's to the object that they honor, the artifacts that they have in there was one of the most pristine um, tea cups. The built by the crafted by the best Zen tea artist there is. 1,000 years old, and then once every 10 years or whatever, this cup. What's the other word? It's a cup, and the one the thing you kettle. No, it's not a kettle. It's
It's
well,
well,
who gives a shit?
yeah. Who gives a shit?
Well,
It's a tea. Who gives a
teacup.
shit?
Yeah, yeah, and then the Zen master shows it, once 100 years, whatever. And it's the thing, and he shows it, and right here I have the most beautiful, and woof, and it fell right, and so it fell, and then he was like, the most beautiful broken teacup there is on the world.
That's great. I love that. And
I
yeah.
mean, good good test for your Zen mastery, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he could have just. I mean, if he would only, I mean, like, everything would have been gone. Like,
Yeah. 1,000 years of teacup or kettle thing, whatever, and then 50 years of Zen mastery, all gone in a flash. It's like, fuck, man! I had one job. Oh my god, I'm an idiot, bruv.
and then and then there was this one student, right, in the audience. Everyone was like, "Oh, fuck!" Right, and also the Zen master. And with the one student, he was like completely Zen, and he was enlightened in that moment, and that's why it all functioned toward that moment, right? It all, like, everything was shown as it was. So it was also shown that the one student was, woof, in that moment became the master, and everyone could see it. Like, it's like, oh, there he is.
He's got it. He's got it.
He's got it.
Leon with the saving grace. Teapot. Thanks, bro.
He thought, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Uh,
sometimes.
such
Sometimes.
such a difficult word. Fucking hell. But oh, I can also see the fucking Zen students. It could be a thing. It could be a farce, because, as we all know, with all things true, an outside is built around it so we can grab it. So this one student could also have oiled in the teapot just before the showing of the teapot. So he knew it was going to fall. So he prepared his so-called Zen stillness. I mean, well, this story got out of hand. Fucking student, man. He's a smart asshole, but you know,
He,
sometimes you
it
gotta make
was
if it.
just it was just a power grab, It was like all orchestrated. Yeah. Break the teapot, change the culture, change the lineage.
He was a mole. He was from a different Zen school.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing because yeah, he just wanted to be the better Zen master, right? He just wanted to fuck the old Zen master, show him who's boss, really. That's what it's about.
And also, um, he showed that he was an imposter. In this story, he had some. There was something to it because well, imposter is a big word, but it showed that his of this particular Zen master that we just made up that one. you know, he appeared not to be quite quite the Zen master that from the previous story.
uh,
Okay.
I felt like this right now though because I was like, well, that's dumb, and it's when I'm sitting here. It's I use the I can see my monitor be like I see you on the TV, and I can see the monitor where OBS is the production program, and well, I clicked start streaming from here, but with this weird keyboard that I don't have the routine to click streaming recording like I normally do. It's a bit more clunky, so it like didn't happen. And I think what might have also happened is that I left the mouse cursor on the start recording button, which becomes the stop recording button. And then if you accidentally press space or something, some confirmation button, when you move the keyboard around, it just stops it again. So I don't know what happened. But I'm also like, plenty more mischief to be had. Wouldn't be the first, half thing we
Don't
do.
be
So,
mad.
and we can also probably get it back from Twitch or something. So whatever.
Whatever, man.
Whatever, man. Oh, hey. So what about that Wanderer?
Yeah, yeah. There are okay. So we left off, and I do think I mean that's one of the biggest, right? It's where little spirit dudes, little threads, and learning how to listen to them. First, discern their language because the spirit dudes have a stupid ass language because they often talk in pain. They create suffering. That's crazy. That's what they do because you're on the wrong path and then they are like, "Well, I'll hurt you now, so you might listen." Obviously, they were speaking in different. They were speaking in tongues before, but you didn't listen. So they get more and more rough, and then they kind of kill you. Like all the burnouts basically are spirit dudes, like shooting you in your knee.
That's
Like,
true.
asshole, why aren't you listening?
Knock, knock, motherfucker.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But anyway, yeah. But that's maybe I wanna kind of I have to. Yeah. Okay. Now is the time. The time is now to uh revisit to end one the first cycle. Um,
Okay.
so this book that I didn't read, and I just opened it. I just opened it on, obviously on a random page just before we started uh, recording our conversation. Um,
Motherfucker.
okay, here it goes. And this is him. I just read it very quickly. And Warren Ellis. I talked a little bit about him before the break. Um, Talks about his crazy spirit. By the way, spirit dude um, experiences while listening to Beethoven a couple of times. In 1985, it starts, and then he has this a glowing form, a figure behind the audience at the back of the room, a spirit. Beethoven's presence in the room. I had an out of body view while he goes on for some time, and then so this is there was something calming in it. For some reason, I was in peace with it. I told someone I had seen Beethoven during the concert, and they just smiled. Right? Not okay, yeah, sure, Warren. Uh, uh, and then he says, a few months later, I was playing the flute in my bedroom, Melbourne. Oh, I guess he's also Australian.
As you do, as you
Uh,
do.
and then the door closed. The cupboard behind me started glowing. I could see it through the back of my head. I could see the shape of the door glowing. The light was inside the cupboard, bursting through the cracks between the door and the frame. The same light as during the concert. I always see it in my mind when I think about it. The same intense light when the backyard was full of clowns illuminating the room. The same for during the concert performance of the Seventh Symphony. Again, vision through the back of my head. I watched the light form shoot towards me and pierce my back and pass through my body. I was watching everything from the ceiling corner of my room, multiple vision. I watched it come out my lower abdomen. I started screaming. Then I threw up. My housemate found me drenched in sweat lying on the floor, white as a ghost. She had bright red dyed hair and the palest complexion that made her glow in the dark. I told her, I've seen Beethoven's ghost and it passed through me. I lay on the floor with a cushion, passed out. Then, in 1987, I found myself in a hole and decided to decorate it. I was lying in bed, really not doing much, listening to the ABC classical radio station, wondering what to do. Wondering what to do. This is the doing. Wondering, and also wondering. Different type of wondering. Wondering what to do. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted, and this presence appeared again at the end of the bed, the same one as during the concert. It was tall to the ceiling and looking down on me. I couldn't breathe. You could almost say that this is a very, um, less sophisticated moment of a spirit dude. He's really trying to get through, right? Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. It was tall. The presence was tall to the ceiling and looking down on me. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't get up, and I couldn't move. I was petrified. I. It was radiating anger. I could hear the music and my heartbeat pounding in my head. And again, this out of body vision from the corner of the room, looking down on myself in bed and this entity. I could see everything in the room stereoscopy like. Then, as soon as the music on the radio stopped, the presence went away. I was back in my body and I gulped for air. The announcer said, and that's Beethoven's Piano Concerto number 3. I passed out, drenched in sweat, and slept for hours. I woke shivering in damp sheets when dusk fell. And here it comes. I took this to be a sign I needed to get on with something meaningful in my life, find a sense of purpose. When I eventually started playing music with a band in the early 90s, I no longer woke with the question, what am I doing?
Brother, preach. I can. Yeah, man, wow, I can feel that so much. Uh, I don't currently wake with the question, what am I doing? And I feel incredibly blessed for it. Fucking hell.
Yeah,
And I definitely have for 30 years. So,
that's, I mean, this is such a good question. This is such a good question to pose yourself, right?
what's
Do you wake
our work, right? What, that's that. What's our work?
Yeah, well, that was our question 2 years
Yeah,
ago, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's a good question, but also the question to pose yourself: do I wake up with the question, "What am I doing?"
Yeah.
That Are you waking up with the question, "What am I doing?" And if you aren't, like, I mean, pose yourself the question. like, But so yeah,
And if it's clearly answerable, then everything is fine. Really, like, yeah, maybe not, right? Maybe there's
no,
a fake clear answer. But I think even if you're in a superficial life state and you ask yourself that question earnestly, you will notice you're wavering, even if
yeah,
the words seem clear. Even if you say, well, doing my job, getting after it, nourishing my family, despite you. Because you always know if you're some sort of slave to something that you don't want to be a slave to, that you didn't choose to be a slave to. I think you always know. So, no, I think I would stand by it. If you have a clear answer, the sort of spirited clarity, then everything is in order. If you have a, well, yeah, I'm feeding my family, man, leave me alone, then no.
excuse voice, you know.
Yeah, on the back foot voice.
That's also if you are excusing yourself in your like in your own mind, if that is a voice you have, like when you are finding reasons why you're doing something, when you're trying to, you know, because you're creating an alibi,
Yeah,
then it's and it's going to be very subtle, right? Because your mind
yeah,
is crazy good at this.
yeah, yeah.
But the moment you see, oh wait a minute, it's creating an alibi, then you know you're in trouble because apparently you need an alibi. You've murdered someone, asshole.
Yeah, yeah. Murdered some little spirit dude. Hey, buddy! Yeah, and I remember some of the times when we were, stepping into judgment with each other. Uh, well, I remember when you were in judgment of me over something, obviously in properly, and I was making up something, and you were like, no. The allergicness to the excuse was like, fuck you, man, leave me alone. No, you're lying.
Do
No,
you
you're
remember?
right. I know you. And in the moment, it evaporates the sweat. It's like no, and it leaves you. It's like, oh fuck, fine,
Do you
fine.
remember? Do you remember the example?
Um, it was about the shadow, and it was when I said, well, but it's helpful. I need it to fight sometimes, and you were like, no, that's an alibi. That's an alibi to keep, like, when you fight, it will be there. When you need to fight, it will be there. Don't worry. But you don't excuse it now for your general existence. You make sure you take it by the hand, put it to the side.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, or more recently with the well in a bit more less pressured situation. I'm like, well, I've got the thing with the thing, and you were like, no, that's not it. I love it. It's so, yeah. It's the cut. It's the cutting no. We had a conversation about that. The discerning
Yeah.
cutting. The good no.
The opening of a door no. It's not the closing of a door no. It's saying no to outside forces trying to get in, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's
it's
the
so crazy.
making
It's the
everything
yes,
important possible no.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Saying no to all the other things that are less important than the most important that there is. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Discernment. Discernment.
yeah, yeah. And but this is actually I think this is a yeah. So making excuses, right? Creating alibis. I think that can be very helpful for a realization of yourself. Like the moment your mind starts making alibis, the moment it starts trying to create this narrative where it's all right what you're doing, that's a big signal where it's like, wait, you're trying to create a rational response to your conscience, which has a an intuition, and that your intuition is the spirit, dude, right? Your intuition has this thing where it's just there. There's this and I'm in this at the moment. I'm in this at the moment where I'm in a situation where my intuition is pretty fucking clear, and I've been noticing there's this narrative building up, like it's a like through the smallest vessels in my body, like this the hair you know. I don't know if the English term is a hair vessels, but
Like your
the
pores, basically.
yeah, and it's like yeah, I've said this before, right? The dark Spider-Man, Venom. It's kind of like where it's very slowly it's taking you over, and it's really convincing. It's so crazily convincing. I mean, that's the and it's and the but the moment you flow with the arguments, you are almost kind of lost, because and it's the same when you are in discussion with maybe a narcissist or with someone who's because they are crazy good at arguments and rational reason and rationalizing, but it's not about the reason, it's not about the rationalizing, it's when you notice that you are trying to build up a narrative for something. It's like that's the big signal, like wait, why am I creating a narrative? Because the moment you're creating a narrative, you when you're following Dao, when you're following the way, the natural state, there's no narrative. There is no story. You don't live in. I mean, that's the thing we always say. We live in the story and all that shit. Yeah, that in a bigger sense that may be true, but in the deepest sense, you don't live a story. That's in the deepest sense. When you're peeling off that shit, you're just living. What we're
Yeah,
doing? Oh, we're having a conversation.
we use stories to access the sense of the non-story. Like, ironically, right? With the story, we can, especially with the set of many stories, we can understand.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, there is no story. Like, stories are there to show the universality of what's going on in a weird way. So you need a story to understand the non-story, something like that.
you gotta step into the story to get out of the story. I mean, if you don't step into the story, you're crazy. There's no. Well, okay. I might read now about jazz free form and structure, because
Sure.
because we build up structure and we need it, because otherwise we will go crazy. And I've
Exactly.
experienced being crazy
Yeah.
a little bit, and it's basically the experience of structurelessness,
Yeah.
and then reality doesn't make sense because your brain won't. There's just input, but it
Yeah.
cannot create a story of the input. So it's
Yeah.
just input.
And maybe before you read, maybe you can complete a little cycle. Where were you kind of going with this, with your situation, with the thing you're in,
Oh yeah.
with the venom, with the dark blood kind of?
Oh yeah. Um. Well. So two things. I will give the example that I had most recently a month ago or something. So a couple of months ago, I decided that yes, if I want to have a cigarette, I can have a cigarette again after a couple of years of stopping, quitting, having quit smoking after 10 years of smoking, and that felt like a great decision because it's freedom, right? If you can tell if you are able to only smoke when you want to, that was the so I made a I'm so okay. So this is how I started, and now I smoke one cigarette a week or what? Oh no, whenever. I never buy. That's the rule. I don't buy cigarettes, but when there is someone who has a cigarette, and it's a apropos moment, then I may have one. I don't have to have. I may. And then I was sitting here by the fire last month, and I was sitting there, and I just smoked the day before, and longing for a cigarette again,
It
and
goes fast
sitting
with
by,
that drug, huh? Goes real fast.
it's absolutely crazy, and so this little, because this is the shadow spirit dude, right? And he's smarter, like the white spirit dude is like stupid, but he's very clear,
Yeah.
but he cannot really express himself.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then there's
He's
this
not
the black
legible.
shirt,
Yeah.
and he's so, like, this is what I love about the devil. The devil is always eloquent. You know, he's so good at reasoning, and he's so he look. You want to look like him. You want to be him. He
He's slick.
oozes.
He's in a suit and a hat. He's
Yeah,
cool. He's charming. He's
he's
confident.
smoking, right? Oh, and you want that. You want. He has this cane. He has some. He is everything is how the rational mind wants to be. I guess yeah. It's a manifestation of how you want to be in the world for all the wrong reasons, right? From power, from sex, from all it surrounds this person where it's just like oozing. Well, whatever. So that's the devil. Anyway, so this, yeah. I mean, you can see him. He's so cool. And so I was sitting there by the fire, and I was kind of slowly not seeing the fire anymore, but getting into this, well, as one does, right? You lose you lose yourself in your thoughts, and the thoughts were, I want to have a cigarette, and I said, no, no, but you can't, because that's the rule. You won't buy a pack of cigarettes, and it's like, yeah, no, that's true, but but yeah, what you could do is you could just drive to the supermarket and buy. I mean, it's kind of you have a couple of days off, and buy one packet of cigarettes, and then get three out, and then throw it away, and then you have one for today, one for tomorrow, Thursday, and one for Friday. And it kind of like, and it got me. Like I was in the argument. That's what happened. I was argumenting with this
Yeah. You were already
argument.
giving it way, right? You were like, okay, let me consider that. No,
Yes.
you know, but it's already in your head.
And that's what, and then what happened, and I could feel, no, I couldn't feel, but how I imagined it, like this coming, coming like here, like, oh, and when it was here, it would have won, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, and it was there in my brain, and I was almost there, like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I was really considerate, and then the moment came where I was like, woof, and I saw it for what it was. I was the Gandalf moment where, you shall not pass, and I could see it, and I was like, what the fuck happened? No, and it like, poof, and he was gone. It was a
Yeah.
poof,
It weasels away
and
real fast when when it knows, right? It's like
it a poof, and it was. I woke up. I was like, what the fuck happened? I was literally battling this demon. That was me, myself, my shadow part, and I really woke up. I was like, but I felt like really strong. And since then, I have not had this conversation. I've had like it comes up now like poof, like and it's just gone. It's like nope, and it's well, and that was such a so yeah. And what I was saying was, when you're in the conversation, this was like, I mean, Gandalf got taken by the Balrog, down, and I mean, he thought he had him, and then he went down and he swooped him right at the last moment, and he pulled him down. So he thought Gandalf thought he had him,
yeah,
but then when he turned around, it's like, no, motherfucker, we got a fucking epic battle to
yeah,
go through, and it was pretty epic. And that was his deepest shadow, of course, because it was the deepest and the highest. And then yeah, and then he became pure white because his deepest shadow was beaten. So yeah, that was so. This was a mini shadow battle that I had, but what I so yeah, and what I now noticed with this little nicotine shadow is I now notice when he comes up, like immediately I see him and I go buff, and like me poof. And but before he would go, hey, oh that's interesting, oh that's a cool story, devil,
hey, buddy. Yeah.
and
Oh,
it's like,
that's so funny.
he
Yeah.
and he has the best things to offer, and he has the best. Like, no, wait, this is crazy. He has the opposite best to offer. Like the spirit dude has, like what we said before. Like it's the spirit dude has um, valuable interconnectedness to all being, and like that. That's the thing. And then the shadow dude says, "Hey, man, you want to live forever? You want to have power? You want to have money? It's yours." He even offered Jesus everything, right? He offered Jesus everything. Yeah, I just need you to go on your knees and honor me. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
And it's
It's
the
not
same thing
Biggie,
with
right?
Faust, right? Yeah, it's your soul, and you think, yeah, my soul. What's my soul? Can I have power? Can I have money? Can I have women, men? Can I have sex? Can I everything I want? And this is the opposite want, right? There's the want, the idea I can make a company want, and there's the what am I doing want.
Yeah. And I've been hanging a lot out a lot with my brother, and he's young, and this example of seeing the and there are many little shadow dudes, right, that are like
Yeah,
in
fucking
many
army.
areas, right, that can pop up. It's like whack-a-mole, right? It's like this
Yeah,
game
yeah,
whack-a-mole where you have
yeah,
to
yeah,
whack
yeah.
the different like
Shadow
earthworms and whack a mole, the different moles, yeah. And you don't talk to the mole, like you just whack him quick because you have to whack all the moles all the times. And that's that's the way of coming to terms in a way, or to no terms in a way, with
yeah,
the shadow
no term.
dude. Is like
No
you're
term.
just like,
No
no, like with you I don't talk. It's just not worth anybody's time. And you may pipe up and poke out, and then I'm gonna whack your ass, because and that's fine, that's okay. That's a game we can play. And that's like bringing it back to the to a conversation we had a long time ago. People talking to you on the street, you know, unwanted advances, if you so will. And uh, well, you learn as you grow older to discern, and especially when your time becomes valuable, and maybe also your money becomes valuable because it's allocated to something. And then
Yep.
you don't talk to everybody who talks to you on the street. And
And
and I
the
and
more
and the joke is, sorry, with my bro, he likes to do that, and it's so funny because he likes to be tempted. It's just
yeah,
and hey, and rightfully so, young man in a big city, who what's not to like? Temptation is very likable, and some dude who might talk you out of 1 or 2 euro, and maybe you feel better in some way after. But we had 1 or 2 situations where we were walking together, and some guy is like, "Hey guys, do you speak English?" Uh, and I know exactly the type of advance, and I was just like, "Yeah, no, sorry, we're walking, we're going somewhere. See you." Like not stopping, right? It's just the whack. No offense, but I, I'm an individual. I got somewhere to be. And Lucas like, okay, wow. I mean, okay, sure. You know, I was ready to talk to that guy. I'm like, yeah, I know. But we together are not because we're walking. We're going somewhere. So, and that's that, right? That's, I mean, except that it's not humans. So it's way easier and way more important to just whack the moles away. But there are many unwanted advances come in many forms. And it's your duty to recognize them, whack them. Sorry.
yeah, no, 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 yeah, yeah. Um, that two things. So one, what came up was, so the more valuable you feel your time is. So this is a thing, right? The more you know what you're doing in the deepest sense, the more valuable your time. The more valuable your time is, the more easy it is to discern,
Yeah.
because no, no, I have to play my instrument. I have to play whatever piano. I have to write. It's like, yeah, but there's this thing. It's like, yeah, but nothing is as important. It becomes so much easier where it's when you don't know what you're doing, you can say yes to everything, and there's chaos because there's no this word hierarchy in your life, where it's where you know what's most important, and that builds up. Like there's this positive feedback loop where you, when you start, the more you start listening, know how to listen to the spirit dude, uh, the more you understand. You start to learn his language, and the easier it becomes to hear him, and then to listen to him, and then the more you listen to him, the better it becomes, and the more valuable that. And it's like, oh, how, and then it turns around, and then this is what I feel more and more in my life. It turns around where it's like, how can I listen to the spirit dude? How can
Yeah.
I make sure that I can listen to that spirit dude? Because and that's the turnaround. Where
Yeah.
before he's like knocking on your door all the time, like, dude, yeah, you might go left, and then yeah, when you start hearing him and start seeing that it's and then all the time, all the time, even when you're in a big positive feedback loop, all the time at the same time, this motherfucker, this shadow dude, he's lurking. He's still lurking. Like he's always lurking.
That's
There's
Gollum.
no.
Even when he knows that you know what he's up to, he's still be on the mountains watching you from above, just waiting for the time where maybe you don't know exactly, and maybe there's an offering he has for you, a little, hey, what if we do this? I know the way in. Can I help you? It's like, maybe, actually, because don't
He
nobody.
can. There is shit he can help you. He is speaking truth in the sense that he can actually offer you that shit.
Yeah, yeah, he has it. He has it
Like he
readily
has.
available. Power. He knows. Cunning. Can get in any door.
Yeah, cunning as fuck. Like he really split one of the greatest friendships there ever was. Right? He split uh, Samwise to Frodo.
For a
I
while.
mean, the ring is doing its thing, but it's he did
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And with when this when these values are in order, when you know what you are doing. Um, Another thing that I've been observing in this very recent times, right? Because I've been running on this good day schedule and taking care of not only myself but also another, which really helps. And but not
Responsibility.
responsibility, and not just codependently, in the sense of, well, I now that is my job, that other person is my job, because then that overrides and supersedes everything I have, right? That's not right. That's against what we were talking about. That's just another distraction. No, in a sense of like, well, yeah, I can take care of you here, but the way I take care of you is that I'll help you take care of you, and I'll also help you take care of me. And then I'll mostly know, because I'm the older, how to take care of you, but no, I don't know everything, so you will also have to tell me. That's the stage we're also getting into, right? It's like, yeah, if I should fix something here, tell me. If my stuff that's around here bothers you, it's probably not in the right place. Better tell me, right? I know authority. There's well, okay. What I've noticed, and that is new right now. I've noticed it, but now I want to tell you this. There is a degree of being awake that is very new to me. A type of not sleeping. A type of have you heard of sleep and being awake? There's like two states, humans usually, most living beings, yes, okay. It feels like I'm accessing, well, it feels like that my whole life, but accessing these the truth to tropes, like, well, you just should get up at the same time every day and it will be good. It's like, yeah, shut up, What does that even mean? But actually getting away at the same, and like yesterday, I drank with a friend, and then the beer in my system or the alcohol made me like kind of not want to go to bed, or like do like definitely threw me off my tracks, right? Evening routine that's usually pretty tight. I was like, whoa, lying in bed on my phone, blah, blah. And then, okay, 4 hours of sleep, 4:30 maybe. That's below anything acceptable. And then it's like, normally it's like, well, hey buddy, my 10 o'clock, Paul, yeah, I had 4 hours. I don't think I'll be there. Well, I was there, and I was awake. I had some coffee too. And even on other days where I don't have any drugs like that, coffee, I'm I feel like a zoominess, like on coffee, like a doof doof doof. I have because I have no time, but in the best sense, because my time is correctly allocated. I have the time, but I have to use it because, and that's this day schedule, right? Well, once that time passes, it's not time for that anymore. And then the way my week is scheduled, it's like um, most things I do once a week. So I have to wait a week until that time comes back because I already have other things in that week. Um, wow. So I'm like, I, I'm present. I'm awake. I'm kind of fast. I can still see how I can be faster, less distracted, less, meanders across Twitter and the likes. But I've never been so fast in my life. Never had. And even, last year, I think to you also, I reported like a rising up of energy throughout the year. Like I was more stable, more structured, and uh, in where it matters, the thing could emerge, grow, whatever. But right now, with this routinized life, bro, like, and not made up routines like necessary because it has to be that way. I've never been so awake. Um, puts a whole perspective on the whole enlightened, awakened thing because there's a literal term to it.
Yeah.
You're just, it's not time to sleep, so you don't act like you yawn and might want to sleep. It's just not the time for it. That's an amazing feeling.
Yeah. It's yeah, I know exactly. I mean, it's high on life. It's what
Yeah,
I've experienced.
yeah.
Wait a minute, being really awake, that high, no, and then you see, oh, drugs give you the opposite, and that's crazy because and for me, like, because it's vitality. It's very it's
Yeah.
oof, and it's, oh wait, this is being alive, this is being awake, and for me the last couple of years more and more, and it's been a, well, not a battle, but it's, well, let me say right now, it's, I don't like to drink anymore. Like, it's new to me. But I don't I don't see the, it it only, what's the opposite of ads? It only subtracts.
Subtracts. Yeah.
It only from my experience of life, and I noticed it after the second one. It's like, wait a minute, my life is less good now. Like,
So
and it was always the opposite. Way. It got better. Like, my life got better when I drank, and it was like, and now it's like, no, and I wouldn't say that I wouldn't, because, and there's this thing, right? When life is, when the moment, when there's this apotheosis and there's time for celebration, yeah, I can still see it build up, create even more euphoria where it's like, okay, you've deserved it. But the normal, like, 5 drinks a night, whatever, it's just, and obviously because I'm old and older than I ever was before, as everyone is in the whole world. Um, but yeah, that's new to me, and I like that. I think it's because, oh yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. It becomes easy to say no. I don't want another drink. and then the social pressure is like, nah, I have no drink. You're like, no, I really don't like. I really don't want. Like the social pressure is the same as shadow dude, where it's like, yeah, I kind of want to, but I know it's better if I don't. And I've always lost that battle. And kind of, I like losing that battle, obviously, because it's the shadow. But now it's like it's kind of easy. It's like, well, I like one drink, and it doesn't add. It doesn't add. And this is kind of, I don't know if it's painful, but it's, well, it's awake. When I'm at a dinner party or whatever, I know people drink, and I drink less. And I mean, everyone has had this experience probably, but when everyone gets drunk, more drunk, and you stay sober, it's crazy. It's. I've had a couple of experiences in my life where people were very drunk, but even just 5 drinks in or four, it's also crazy because you are not there. They are not there, and there's no connection at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
And you kind of you yeah you drink yourself out of life, out of awakeness. Um, Not saying anything against drinking, by the way, but it's pleasant. This is a pleasant evolution in my life
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
easy to say no.
Look at you being all sober, asshole. Fucking preaching from your moral, not that high anymore horse. I see how it is.
Pony, fucking
Yeah.
from your pony,
Young.
preaching pony preaching, asshole.
Oh, that's funny. No, and no, I relate. I had it yesterday. I had 4 beers, 2 shots. Genever, by the way, was nice.
No, you never.
Genever. Yeah, yeah, okay. Um, and I was like, why did I have 4 beer? It's like this. Yeah, I've been a bit fed up with the beer drinking because there's this. I could have had like 2 whiskeys or something, like something a little bit because the beer is also such a catering to the addict, the constant sipping, the constant
Yeah, yeah,
flow of stimulus.
yeah,
It's like chain smoking. It's like
yeah.
um, yeah, I'm not. I don't think. Yeah, I feel it. I feel like it's not gone, but I can feel it going slowly. Like, yeah, I think I'll go my own way. This shadow dude is like, yeah, and yeah, he'll probably come back and perk up. But it's like, yeah, well, I can see it slowly becoming. I don't know. Let's see what the summer brings, but I can see it. I can see it going into a direction of,
Yeah,
well, that I'm not having that conversation anymore, right? That's what we talked about. It's like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's beautiful, man. It's How much do you think is
Good.
like time, just like time and age? How or
Oh yeah, a big one.
it helps, right?
Yeah, yeah. That really, I mean, that really helped. Also, the fact that when I was, I don't know, 22, I could drink 12 beers, and next day I would be fine.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, and that's not the case anymore. So, but it's more. It's more because I can, yeah, definitely a thing. But I can see,
It
but
is more. How many people do that when they're 55? Just the habitual. Like you see them.
many,
They're
like all everyone I know, like it's that's kind of when the setting is there. I mean, the setting is not often there anymore or less, but still, when you're at a dinner party, when you're at a birthday, you drink. Like it's the moment where it's the cliche.
it's the mo.
Yeah, yeah, and still, I'm looking forward to getting absolutely buzzed and dancing and shit. I mean that's like yeah, it's especially the 5 beer thing. That's just stupid to me. Like one because five is just it doesn't really add anything. And yeah, if you want
So
to go all out once in a while, yeah, yeah, that's cool because that's like a completely different ball game, and you're in. You're like
yeah,
fuck this shit. I'll be
yeah.
there. Here,
Intermittent sinning, right?
I'll show you. I got this intermittent singing. Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah.
I today a friend of mine sent me a picture from when I was 18, and I was living I was in Madrid during St. Patty's Day,
Which is
and
today, by the way.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that's the reason. Right? And so he sent me these very young Louis.
Oh.
There's one.
Are you on the right?
Yeah,
The Jameson hat?
yeah.
Oh my days, boy. Uh, on the left, Jameson hat. Wow, such a innocent smiley man.
And then
It's
I
ridiculous.
was obviously pretty drunk, and then I had the Jameson, and I was fucking I love the Jameson, but we always had to when we walked home, we always walked through the la calle the puta the prostitute
Yeah,
street, and then I got in a fight because one of the prostitutes stole my hat, and this is actually a picture of me being argumentative with one of the prostitutes and trying to keep my hat.
that's
But
hilarious.
oh yeah, no, this is why I thought my eyes in this picture are like, oh wait, yeah, that's then you're drunk,
Oh, you're wasted there, bossman.
wasted. Yeah,
Hey, you look so different. You look like a different person. I mean, I don't know you as a kid, but you look so well. You're a kid, right? You look soft. I mean, it's 18. It's hella young,
that's so
but
young. Yeah, but
yeah,
this is for me. I haven't seen myself. This was a treat. This is crazy. I
it's
really like what? And to have drunk pictures of yourself, 18, that's good.
that's
I mean,
good.
this is yeah.
Shows a life well lived because never getting drunk. I mean, I don't know about that either. Gotta taste
No.
it to know it, to then not have the conversation anymore. Well, maybe not. But that feels strange, right? Purity from the get go. That is
Yeah.
it possible then to? Yeah, I feel like all these paths lead through the shadow to fucking
Yeah.
get the
Well, that's
things
something
right.
that is something I wanted to say about the shadow. One more thing, and we've talked about shadows quite a bit, and it's dude, quite fucking interesting because you know that people in my life now that I hang out with have had some shadow battles, and there's a new one. Like it's crazy with a friend of mine who I was going to work with, and he was, and the shadow came up, and it was pretty light for me because it didn't involve me. Like I was really out of it, and that was good. But oh yeah, so what I want to say is, so you have the shadow fucking shadow spirit dudes, the you know
The
the
there's
black.
the black spirit dude, right? We want to listen to the white spirit dude and not to the black spirit dude. But the black spirit dude has all the drugs and the nice things, but the white spirit dude has what in the long term is order and prosperity.
Yeah, he offers the soft beauty of life, you know, that as especially as a 17, 18 year old is like the most gay shit you can ever imagine. Like, get the fuck out. Love? Love connection? Nah, man.
What are you chatting about? Give me some pussy.
Stupid shit. Yeah, so you have the shadow dudes, and then you have the but yeah, so and the shadow dudes are everywhere, like they're grouping around shit and drinking and whatever. But then you also have shadow, right? So there's this where we talked about whack a mole, like it's you have the shadow dudes and it's just blah, you know. It's good to discern and to know these. You don't, but then there's the shadow, and you know the real the dark side um, of your light and and these shadows you don't whack them away. That's not the way. Like you because these shadows are part of you, like in a sense where it's you know you light a candle, there's a shadow. Like it's
Yeah, there's
and
one big light in you and one big shadow. Maybe it's like the one big. Or do you think would you prefer it if there were like would you multiply them in the for the concept? It feels like this is more like for each person there's this one, big shining light and one big shadow, or maybe or no? What? How do you?
I would say that the shadows we encounter are all sub shadows of the big one. I
Okay.
mean, at the end, it's the ultimate dual. If you come from oneness via duality, then it splits into an unending. The image that not that I've been seeing, but I'm with the last couple of weeks is Indra's net, and Indra's net is this, I would say, Vedic, so probably Indian um, way of thinking of life. There's this interesting Spit Meef account on Instagram that talks a little bit about it, but it's where there's mirrors within like all these nodes, a web of nodes, and all these nodes mirror each other. So even if you have two mirrors, right, it's endless. But then you have this web, this net of unending nodes, and they all mirror each other. And this is the, in the sense that that's how I sometimes, how I can see life, because it's absolutely an unending part. So when you from that frame, but that comes from duality, and that comes from oneness, right? It's the 10,000 things. So within us, there's when you, and this is when you go from here, where it's the 10,000 things, like whack-a-mole shadow shit, and it's like whoop, and then there's like these couple of Dementor shadows just hanging around, and then there's this Dracula dude, and then there's absolute blackness, and then there's oneness, and there's absolute blackness, and then there's this whiteness, and this has nothing to do with personality. This has nothing to do with Simon or the, and here there are a couple of and I would say that the lesser yeah, so it's a build up probably, and there are many shadows, but and I think they're also bosses, like where you want to fight once, you first have to fight this shadow before you can do the next one, and it deepens in a sense. So I would say,
Hmm.
but these shadows are not whack a mole, because you have to embrace these shadows. That's
That
the
was
only
your
way, right?
point. Hmm.
Yeah, you got to befriend them, because they have given you. They are, yeah, because shadow is not a negative. Like it is a negative in the sense that it's the opposite of a
In a
positive, but it's
conceptual
not.
sense, yeah.
Yeah,
But not in
and
a qualitative sense.
no, yeah, not in a qualitative sense. And so these are, and it's not even a fight. Even well, it is a fight. You will absolutely. It's a fight because it will, and it's horrible. It's horrible. It's crazy. It's a tough fight, but the only way is to look at the shadow and to say, "Oh, you're there. Oh, oh, you are there. You are here." And that's and only then can you attempt the whack-a-mole move, right? Like that's only then. But in the end, it's facing. Oh wait, I am a power-hungry little cunt as well, right? No, but I'm a good boy. I want love for everyone and prosperity. Yeah, you're a power-hungry little cunt as well. And wherever that may have entered into your personality. Oh yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Mm. Okay, let's walk together, and let's see. It's not, yeah,
And that's the way
that's
that you often describe with the taking by the hand, and it has a it well it has a, what's the word,
Genesis.
calm, a gentleness, a calming. You have to show the shadow that his powers aren't needed in a way, or are heeded but not needed. There's a respect for it, and a reverence. Well, maybe not a reverence, but a seeing. Um, but hey, look, what we point our reverence at, that is the light, and um, we do that together. You're with me, and I'm not trying to banish you. I'm not trying to deny you, because I will need you, especially when times get tough. That's the. But you're trying to play in times where it's not your turn.
yeah, and I would maybe say I have needed you. I think that's the
It's a past
it,
thing.
it, it it's a past thing, and it's because that's why it's perverted in the now. But it helped you survive when you were a child, and it really did. I mean, it built you up as a child. It built your panzer to whatever suffering you were seeing, and this word is from the Buddhist sense of suffering is inconvenience. Even like you can have had a really happy childhood, and that's not the thing. But there's always the shadow that opened that created something for you to be safe in that world, and that can be anything. So it's not about having a bad childhood or a good childhood, but whatever happened in your things have helped you then, that have become part of your personality, that are no longer needed, but they were by definition needed in a sense because they were created out of necessity.
Yeah.
They have not created themselves. It's not like, oh, I want to be a devil, so let's be a devil. No, no, no. There was a situation in which you could not handle the situation with what you were, with your guns that you had. So there was a power up needed, and that power up may have been, I will never show my true feelings to anyone. It's a fucked up power up, but it helped you. You needed that power. You needed not to ever open up your heart again to anyone because you will have been killed. Your heart would have been broken in pieces, and it would have been too much. So yeah, these are all perverted power ups that you needed, and it's
Mm.
and even perverted is the wrong word because it's what was needed. It what was no, it what was yeah, it was what was needed. It was what was created from necessity,
Mm.
neutral. Later in life, it's like, what? I've got, I've got my goodie bag, it's good. I've got my vegetables, and that's good. Why do I have like this molded fucking Mars bar, you know, in my fucking mouth all the time? And oh wait, because at one time, I needed that fucking Mars. Yeah, I remember. I was out of energy, and it's still here, and it doesn't want to go because it's. And this is the thing, because it's part of me, and it is. So you have to say goodbye, or you have to embrace him. Yeah, in a sense, to say, okay, yeah, you're part of me, but let's get the mold off,
Yeah.
and let's put the Mars back where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and maybe nibble at it sometimes. No?
I mean, it might be that there will come I mean, I would say that in the end, no, hopefully not, because the idea of development is also, where it's like, okay, you was needed, but you're still with me, but I won't need you anymore. Like
It's this shelving, right?
it's the shelving of the. It's like, okay, this is the idea also with the vipassana meditation, where you like where you are all the time just scraping off the layers of old conditionings, of old personality pains, and they are no longer like, because if the deeper you get to the light, or the higher you get to the light, we're safe. Like this is the end. Like, always wrong to talk about causal effects and endpoints, whatever, right? But it's also in the wanderer. There's no, but you're okay. It's okay. In the deepest sense, you're safe. Like, you're safe. And this is not a, but this is not even, and this is crazy, but even when you're in a shitty situation in a war, like this is a crazy concept, but it's in the deepest sense, you're whole. Like, it's,
Mm.
it, this is the idea of enlightenment, is the recognition of wholeness. Oh, wait, it's, yeah. Well,
Yeah. And yeah. Yeah, I think what I've always found interesting in this conversation is like that I always have this every time I come through with the and then you nibble at the Mars bar a little bit. It's like you're not happy. You don't like that. That's like that doesn't seem to be it. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure if I'm wrong or if it's my well, my yeah, there's like I have it feels so absolute, you know. It feels unrealistic. It feels like yeah, we want to like minimize that, but is it reasonable to expect the full shelving of the thing and we never, you know, we never gain that sugary goodness again, especially if we've dusted it off and we've kind of conserved it in a good, maybe even usable state. You know, I mean, it depends on what exactly we're talking about, because it's not just a Mars bar. But for example, you know, literally sugar is a hard fucking drug. For some, it's hard. You know, it's what
Yeah.
I know somebody who has a sugar addiction. You know, um, well, is the way to go to never have it again? You know, to like no, we don't need that anymore. We just don't do that. Or is it just like, well, we push it down to like dark chocolate, half a piece at night, you know? And that's a reasonable. How is that? Because that's the thing I'm always going for when I say, well, maybe we'll have a nibble, because it seems too absolute, too unrealistic, too inhuman to never dabble. What do we think
Yeah.
about that?
Well, I think about that. What I think, no, is so there's obviously uh, reality, and there's the way, um, and I think it is possible to actually shelve it. No, not shelve it even, but just to make it go and let it go. But I would say in most lives, when you are consciously trying to develop, you can have insights and you can see shadowy parts of yourself where you can see old conditionings doing their work, and you can lessen them and even shelve them. And in most lives, when pressure is added and circumstances get really difficult, the doors to that shelves to those Mars bars are more opened again. So you're more vulnerable to the old. Even if you've had your fight with them, you're more vulnerable to let them seep in and gain power over you again, especially the deeper conditionings they are. But there's so yeah, that's probably what happens like with everyone, right? That's the you can really go through the path and whatever fucking words, uh, and shelve that shit, and it's probably gonna in vulnerable moments get back at you. But there's also the idealistic or the ultimate, you know, almost I would say almost unrealistic way, and this is I think uh, possible where you can actually dissolve it, where you can actually lose it forever. And it's it's like is it it's very unrealistic, but it's also there. That's my like in my experiences, what I've experienced with, and obviously I can be absolutely wrong. This could also be getting older and stuff like that. But in my the way I've been experiencing my own life has been, especially since the last 6 years when I've been consciously trying to live life and listen to the spirit dude and actually, oh yeah, that's it, I trying to learn this language. I have noticed in my own experience of life that it's become much freer, and I've actually can pinpoint to some old conditionings that I have lost along the way, where and then I can come into situations where there's this memory of, huh, normally I would have done this, but I didn't do it. Like,
Mm.
oh wait, oh that and oh this action has been removed from my palette of things that I, and it's like, and you see then that it was a reflex, and that's a good word. I think it's most of our behavior is reflex, and the reflex is gone, and it's crazy. It's like you're playing tennis and then the ball comes and you don't do this, like it's huh. It's, oh wait, and it's like, oh, it's freedom because I'm in control now and I can actually look at the situation and act from a deeper me, whatever that means, right? But yeah, this is the thing. You notice that the reflex is gone, and that's a crazy thing to notice, because it's something I've been doing for 30 years, right? It's like, and then you think, but isn't Louis, isn't Lewis, isn't me the one who does that in this situation? And it's like, oh no, that's not who I like, and that's crazy because, well, then you change your appearance also to the outside world, and then the conversation starts, right? Like old friends are like, who is this guy? Or this guy is different. Like I didn't make friends with this person. Well, that's a whole different story. But yeah, this is my reflex. I guess that's the word that comes up. Yeah.
And how, so if it's possible to completely dissipate it or let it dissipate, then why do we use the metaphor of, taking the shadow by the hand and recognizing it that it's there? I mean, because as far as I understood it, it's to, like, especially if you go through your hierarchy of shadows and you take the true one, the last one, if you will, right? If you're
Yeah.
because because we have two models now. One was the whack-a-mole, the guys that pop up and you just know how to deal with them. And then we have maybe slightly bigger ones, and you kind of like just develop them, like you said. They kind of dissipate. And I can see that, and I can see the whack-a-mole too, obviously. And then there's the big thing, the foundational shadow, the shadow you cast when the light shines on you, and that is the Ged shadow, right? The one he chases to bring him home in a way, right? And the one he knows about when he then crosses the sea to the far, far west and doesn't use his magic all the time because he knows it's dangerous, But he knows he uses it when it's time, but then he still knows that is then dangerous. So I think, as far as I can see, there are like at least 3 different models here, which all are true in different situations. But there is one that stays, and there's also, and that's what I'm asking you is, am I alibiing now, or do we need to complete this model by also saying, yes, you shelve the Mars bar, but there are times where you, I don't know, use its strength in specific situations. The shadow that you do have by the hand, the ego, the dog that you have now trained and said, hey, look, it's calm. We don't need that anymore. But it's there if you need to go to war, or something. Like, I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
genuinely asking.
No. Yeah, and one of the things I must say, I think we have 3 models now talking and going through each other, and I think it's, yeah, that does make it more. I think you have to stick with a model too, because it's just a mode of looking at this. So there's developing, and then there's this uh, shadow battle going. I think that, but anyway, it doesn't really matter for your question, but it's, in my head as well. I was kind of like, wait a minute, can we fit these 2 models like in the same? And I've kind of been struggling at the same time where, like, yeah,
So
I might make them work, but I'm not sure.
yeah, so my feeling just quickly to that is that there's a good that they describe different situations, like different
Yeah,
shadows come in different forms. There are monsters who have the weakness on their belly, the weakness on their back. And some act like fucking moles that pop up, and some are more persistent, you know. And maybe you can degrade one to that role and then behaves like that, and you can deal with it like that. I at the moment feel like these things can coexist, or at least, yeah. It doesn't seem like there needs to be this one way to describe it all. But
Uh,
yeah. So, but we were talking about getting rid, but then there's also the thing, well, that you used to explain to me, and it's this pushing down, taking by the hand, integrating, but that
yeah.
means it's still there. That means it's not dissipated, and that means it's also not whack-a-mole. Because if you take it by the hand, things you take by the hand, you don't whack-a-mole. Like, so what's that about?
Yeah. No, so, okay, so the image I have is this child, right? This with the hood and like yeah, throwing rocks and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. I feel it.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then you're there with the what's going on and the ice hitting me and then all of a sudden you see oh wait a minute that's John, it's John motherfucker from sixth grade. He saved me from those bullies. Like he saved me from my broken heart then one time, but he never grew up. And I think the moment when you see that is like ah wait you're no you're not a shadow fuck, you're little John. Yeah, and then you take off the dark hood, and you no oh wait no dude, it's okay, it's me, you know, and then he gives away his rocks. And he's like oh thank you, and so what I see is he take you take off his black hood, and oh I have a much
and
better
give him
one.
a
I have
white
this
one, right? Like with the
yeah, rainbow colored thing with a thing, and that fits you so much better, man. Have you been wearing that shit all the time? Yeah, man. Oh fuck, that's shitty for you. Yeah, man, I couldn't reach you, and I was trying to help you. And like, really, you were fucking throwing rocks at me. Oh yeah, but that's what I did, you know. Remember
yeah.
when you were
Remember? Yeah.
six?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, I remember. Oh, you helped me, dude. Because of you, I don't have my jaw you know punched in or whatever,
Yeah.
and it's the recognition of this. Wow, fuck, you're still here from way back,
Yeah.
and you've been trying to help me, but I'm 36 now, and I'm not 6 years old anymore. So please don't throw rocks at everyone that doesn't like me, because then I have a problem with that dude. It's like, oh, but I thought he was attacking you. And like, no, no, no. That, yeah, no, of course. You're still six, of course. No, come, dude, come here. It's meet these fun people. No, sometimes they're harsh, but you know what I do? I try to, you know, find a way. So you create light. You make them light, and it's they have guns that you don't want. They have no power anymore. They only have destructive power in this new situation, where it's like it's old shit. It's like the old bomb, and you don't. And now you grow up, and it's like no, no. My new power is kindness. Yeah, that's fucking gay, dude. Really? He's like, yeah, no, but it's so much more fun than your rocks, man.
Yeah.
Fuck you, kindness. It's like, no, no, wait, I'll show you, right? I'll
Yeah.
show you kindness. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Even to people who are fucking nasty. Yeah, especially to people who are nasty. I'll show you, you know. And
Yeah.
it's and because it's this new power, and it's like, those rocks. Don't use those motherfucking rocks. Never, like never.
Mm.
And it's not like, oh, but when you're attacked, you can use those rocks. I think that's a different. That's not that. Like because when you're now being attacked, you can use righteous anger, and righteous anger is not something you've learned from when you were 8, right? Or maybe you have, but
Yeah.
then it's a
Unlucky.
power.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
then
No. No.
now the
No. I can see that. I can see that. It's the undressing and the no. No. Put these things to the side. We don't need them anymore. And
they
well,
were very
and it's
helpful.
funny because it actually turns the black little spirit dude, that's who you just described, into a white little spirit dude. And
Yeah,
that's funny because that metaphor that you just gave, that is because the the maybe, I mean, the white little spirit dude and the black little spirit dude, they are they are the same spirit dude, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the 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 because it's just a spirit dude. And if the, let's say, righteous and light language doesn't reach you or doesn't find its way into the world through you, which often happens because it's hard to make that legible and understandable and so on. And the rocks, they definitely find their way into the world, you know. That's no problem. And so the thing we described of listening to the white spirit dude, the light one, this black and white metaphor is not going good places, and I love it. It's bad. um, yeah, learning to listen to the light language is the undressing. That's what it is. It goes hand in hand. It doesn't necessarily mean that once you, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and also seeing the dark shit for the dark shit. It's like, oh, like it's the moment when it's very clear. Like until that point, you didn't know it was dark shit. Like, oh fuck, wait, you're throwing rocks. You know, that's the you don't know. This is the weird moment where you are. It's the blind spot for our own darkness. That's why that's why we really need light from other people and from ourselves, but also from other people.
Yeah. Because we don't see it.
Because you don't even know that you're still that because you are also the dude, right? You don't even know you're throwing the rocks. You don't know this. It just and then and all of a sudden, fuck, I've been throwing these rocks, and then he's there, and the moment you see it, it's almost like, oh, dude, come, man, you know, not immediately because then the work is then no, not immediately because you see the dude throwing rocks and you get angry, and that's and then you and yeah and then you grow apart, right? I don't want that shadow, but you are that shadow. I mean, you are it. So it's basically it's the only option to integrate, to embrace,
Yeah.
because otherwise you are pushing away from a part that's you. And obviously you want the first reaction is no. I'm good. I'm not a bad. That's a bad thing. I'm not doing bad things. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the interesting thing that with the embrace comes the laying down of the arms, the weaponry.
Yeah.
That can be
Yeah.
a slow process also.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to say, and a painful one.
Yeah, because
It,
in a way you have to do it at the same time. You know, like it each step you
yeah.
take, one of the, let's say it's not just six rocks, it's like hundreds of like rocks and pebbles, and here's the whole arsenal, right? And you do already embrace and you move closer, but the rocks sting you also, right? I mean, they're not just there to hurt others, they also hurt you, right? And that's what happens when you push him away. Then he has a distance to throw the rocks at you, right? And then with the embrace, to get heart to heart, you know, he has to drop them, but he won't do it right away. And it's a bit like you also start containing them, or, you know, in this metaphor where he holds them here, you know, you have to, yeah, just come. But it's like, you know, the rocks are pointy, and that you let yourself voluntarily be touched by the rocks. Where if you say, no, I ain't got nothing to do with this rock throwing little shit, then you will get get the rocks thrown at you by you. Well, that seems like it. But then we're like, yeah, okay, I'll have the rock throwing little shit and his fucking rocks, you know. It's like you get pointed, you get pierced a bit, but that dissolves it then, yeah.
Yeah, and it is a battle. I mean, and it is. I mean, it's so it's an embrace. That's and you have to. The starting point almost of the battle is the embracing. That's the acknowledging
Yeah,
that
yeah.
it's part of
And
yourself,
I
and
mean,
it's
that's also forgiveness, right? I mean, if you imagine, let's say, not while we are like personifying this bit in you, um,
yeah,
it is
yeah,
the metaphor is for yourself. But if you even imagine yourself, with another person who might have harmed you, which
yeah,
is much more tangible, which we all know, which is not so abstract, then that's forgiveness, is going in for that embrace. And it's like, well, I know you've hurt me, but I know, that maybe you didn't want to. And well, I'm very afraid. I'm very afraid to embrace you because I don't really trust you, but I I have a higher layered trust. So well, fine, and you might poke me or whatever while we do that, but I just hope not, and I'll be fine. We'll I can I
yeah,
that's also
yeah.
forgiveness, and
And
that's
forgiveness is almost ultra human. It's not the personality. Your personality can almost it's kind of impossible to. It's your conscience. It's almost godlike to be able to truly forgive because it's your whole personality is like no.
yeah,
But there's this and there's this other trust where it's like, well, yes, because we are all. That's interesting. We are also the same. Like when we talked about you have to forgive yourself, a part of yourself, very difficult. But in the end, you see, okay, we are the same. It's part of me and integrated. And when you can truly forgive another person, it's also the acknowledgement. Well, we are also the same.
yeah.
And I've been the story of Jacob has been circling around the last couple of weeks of in the Bible, and there's been many interpretations, and I don't have this really straight right now. But the Jacob and Esau, his brother, and then Jacob went away and he had big success in different lands, and then he came, but he had all this worldly success, and Esau was kind of the more of the dark brother, right, the more rough kind, and but Esau was actually the firstborn, but Jacob fixed it so that he got all the rights to the firstborn, and he went away, uh, and he came back, and I think the first time I heard about the story, the way it was explained, and I kind of like this, and it may have something to do with this, but maybe I don't know. So he comes back with all this cattle, and his wives and his sons and his grandsons,
His
but he
entourage.
entourage, everything he accumulated
Yeah,
out,
in the
big,
world.
big man.
Big man.
But and then he enters, and then but he's returning. He's returning to his brother, Asa, and he kind of knows like, well, I wronged him, or at least, you know, there's a yeah, kind of woof, and he knows that Asa is coming as well to confront him, right? So he sends all his belongings over the river where Asa is, and he stays at the other side of the river that night, and he stays there. And then he has a fight, as it says in the Bible, with an angel or a man or God. It's not really clear, but it's and he fights. He has this fight, and he all night long he's fighting with this angel, and then he overcomes the angel, and it's always I don't know exactly, but it's and then his name is turned, and then he's called Israel, and Israel means literally he who fights with God. Like Ish is man, El is God, and Ra is I think fighting. So and he's so conscience, right? He had this struggle with conscience and his dark side and all his worldly shit. He said so he was bare naked in a sense, like all his worldly possessions were already gone, and he was there and he fought and he got hit in the thigh, so he had a wound, like a real wound, and he couldn't never walk afterward. So it took something from him this fight. He had to give in something, and then is Israel, and then he goes to the other side, and there's Esau, and 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 I think Jacob bows down, and Esau's like, stand up, and they embrace.
It seems to have something to do with it.
And I think I kind of made my own interpretation a little bit, but I feel this now, where it's like you have to you fight with your conscience, and you're only there. Your naked self is there. All your outside shit is gone. You fight with fight, and it's interesting because he's not fighting a shadow, but he's fighting an angel, right? So he's fighting the light part, and he wins, but I think he can turn this a little bit around, where it's like, okay, I will hit you, and then okay, you win, and then you are given the name,
Yeah.
but because you fought and you overcame, and I think maybe what happened as well, and this is pure interpretation, but what happened as well is in that moment he knows, okay, he has to be humble, like it's I fight and I show myself my true worth, but I am humble towards Esau, the brother I've wronged my whole life. And the moment, and this is of what I find in forgiveness very interesting, is the moment and you truly ask for forgiveness, like from your soul, you are in a sense given it, and it's still up to the other person to acknowledge it, but you have done your fight with God. If you can ask for forgiveness, if you can truly ask for forgiveness, and that means that you have confronted the shadow, your conscience, for whatever you've done, and you see the wrong, and you see that whatever um, um, blame, whatever punishment is set before you, it's like, of course, I will pay penance, but I ask for forgiveness, and it's okay if you don't give it, but in a sense, you've come to the river, right? It's now up to the other person to. But if you cannot ask for forgiveness, you can never. I don't know if you can get it. I don't know if that's it. If there's.
I can tell you because I think I know this. It's like forgive forgiveness. It has a river in between. It fits really well because if let's say we wrong each other and then um and these are probably my last legs here tonight. um and you can already forgive me. You can say, yeah, he did that, but that's fine. You know, I. But that does not. Um, that doesn't make me fine. It makes you open. It opens
Yeah,
your heart to me again.
yeah,
But I might still have a cycle of guilt in me. So your forgiveness does not actually absolve me of my guilt. And what you described was the part in me in that case where I say, well, I see my wrongs now and I would like to be forgiven um, because I've done my work. I've looked that bad thing I did, my shadow, if you will, or my shadow who did that, or at least the things that I did, at least the produce in the eye.
I see it. Yeah,
So I know what I did wrong. That's an important bit because when you're in a tussle like that, often you don't see what you're doing wrong. You're just defending yourself against what you perceive the other person is doing wrong. And maybe you are right to a degree. You probably are. Fights exist. It's not like they don't. Um, and so, but there is a river in between, and
yeah,
we, well, there's no sense, even if you have forgiven me, to cross it to come to me if I'm not, you know,
No.
like you can tell me, but it won't mean much to me because I will still think, well, you've done me wrong. What are you doing here telling me that you've forgiven me? What are you talking about, right?
Yeah.
So that's the funny thing. So forgiveness is almost an internal cycle, and that's why it's also so associated with God, because you see your wrongs and then it's almost like this asking for forgiveness equals, that's what you described, if truly from the soul, means forgiving yourself, like, or being granted the forgiveness from God. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, you've seen it, and if you've truly seen it, then you will be freed of it, kind of, because that also means that you will take responsibility for that in the future. That's the actual effect of it. It's like you see what you did wrong,
Yeah.
so don't do it again. And so then you may move on. Then you will be released from that prison. And then you may
Yeah.
move on. And then I may send you an envoy or a letter, or maybe I'll come in person and say, hey, man, here is the shit that I've done to you. And I'm really sorry. And I hope you can forgive me.
Yeah.
Okay. And you see, both things are the same thing, And then if you have already forgiven me, and maybe also yourself, and then we can come together. But it's the work. So each person has to go in a fight where probably both wronged each, because that's what fights most of the time are. You both go through that cycle, and then when both have done that and they cross the river, then it doesn't matter who crosses the river to whom, because then their hearts will be open and they will be free from their guilt, and they will do their best to not do it again, because they will know the pain it has caused, because they've been there. In their spirit, they have crossed the river and they've put themselves into each other's shoes, and they have felt the pain that they have caused. And that's seeing what you've done. And then both are forgiven. And that is not up to the other person in a way, because this forgiveness cycle is between you and God, if you will. And then it's really this one person thing, moving that out of the way. So if you run into each other again, you can embrace each other. But it means that both people have seen the wrongs that they have committed in the fight. And that's also why forgiveness is like, this has the superpower element, not to be treaded around too lightly, but even if you have done somebody else much wrong, and you have successfully seen it and asked for forgiveness from God, maybe in a letter or whatever, you will be free from it. Because it's really about you seeing what and you might not get together with the other person again, because they might be brooding. But that's why people say, forgiveness is for yourself, because the other person can be stuck in the cycle, and that's a real shame. That's a real hard and sad thing. That and that's why it's better to try not to fight and not hurt anybody, because it's, as dumb as it sounds, it's possible that you might get out of it. Even if you've hurt somebody else, you might get out of it if you're strong. Because if you're strong and if you can see, because you can atone for your misgivings, and then you are actually freed to move on in the world. But there might be people that you've left in your path, in your wake, who look upon you with much disdain because you've hurt them. And they have not gotten over it because they were not strong enough to see maybe what they did to you that warranted you hurting them. Warranted, wrong word, obviously, but what caused, a part of the conflict to escalate or whatever. And so it's better to not let that happen in the first place, because even if you can get away with it, can get through with it, then others might not. Because this is fucking hard work to do this forgiveness and to do the self-forgiveness.
and at the same time, um, yeah, please don't fight. But a fight that has happened from this perspective is always an invitation or an entry point towards moving on, towards new clarity on your own shadows and of the and on both sides of the fight. So, not to say, I mean, this is a difficult one, but it's interesting. If you have had a fight, if there's a fight in your life, it is in fact an invitation. It is a way, it is a portal through which you can learn and you can forgive that part of yourself, because there's in that fight there's something you are fighting with yourself. And yeah. So if there is a fight, if there is something going on, it is an invitation.
That's the part of, yeah, and then you go through that, and then maybe you disengage from it soon enough to see the fight and see the conflict, but not see it through. You just want to see it, but you just want to see it, don't want to see it through. Maybe you want to disengage, you want to pause, because if you engage, well, if you fight, war has no winners, and the fight is also a little war. And well, you can hold your own if your life is in danger or something, but if you engage, you might do serious damage, or you might get serious damage. And
And it escalates. Yeah.
like if you fight with an angel and you get a wound on your leg, well, that's fine, right? Because you're not, that's then your destiny. But if you fight with a human and they wound you or you wound them, that's really really bad.
Because the thing that's fighting is conditionings, is old personality shit, and they, as we have talked about before, are reflexes. So you are not there anymore in an escalating fight, and everyone knows this, right? You say
You
shit,
see
and
red.
you know just you use all that old reflexes, and it builds up on each other, and it's just and it's world war. It's
Yeah,
almost unstoppable.
it is. And so you want to disengage and you want to really take this fight on with God if you must, and then you may get hurt and humbled, and that's actually valuable. And this, what you said, this taking on the fight, on like taking the invitation of the conflict, to of the pain, that's what it is, to move to a higher or a plane or a deeper level, or however you want to, in whichever direction you want to measure your progression.
Yeah.
um, that's right. But take it out. Take the fight out with God, not with your brother. That's the story.
Yeah. Be
And
angry at God, not at the person.
then maybe don't be angry at God for too long, but show, like, see what's there to listen. Yeah, like, listen, right? And then, yeah, and that's the bit in my explanation of see your own mistakes, right? And don't do them again. That's how you actually go to the. That's what the whole thing we talked about. That's like, yes, just like what, however we do that, we explained that, but like, don't throw the rocks. Then maybe, right? Yeah, and that's, man, that's the real thing. Like, that's how you can really. How many people just get stuck in like the first fight and fight that again and again in the same ways? It's so sad. It's
Or never engage. There's also, but maybe that's too much for now. But there's also sadness in never engaging, because as we know, we've had a week of conflicts,
we did.
and it was great because we engaged from, let's say, we from a perspective where we're looking at it from a more from almost a soul perspective, and we could just see, okay, what's going on here? Why are we having such a hard time? And it was, I mean, it wasn't easy.
No,
I mean, it wasn't.
but no, and well, and that's the way to, well, that's like agreeing to the, like saying, hey, let's fight, but here are the rules. That
Yeah,
means we are playing like, that's just playing a game. Like, literally, if you and I play this fucking game here now called Skip Bow, then we're
yeah,
fighting.
big stakes,
What?
like big stakes. The stakes are high,
Yeah.
high stakes.
Yeah.
Like it's a game because we have entered, but you get hurt a little bit. It's a little bit boxing, right? Ah, on the nose. Ah,
Yeah.
fuck. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Man. It was
It's a rough.
so.
It's rough. Yeah.
Yeah,
But we
yeah,
can take. Look, like if we know what it's for, like I'll take a punch from you any day. Like we can.
yeah.
We are humans. We can take pain. We can take rough. Like we are not made for um like happy days ever after. I talked about it with Paul today. Well, that might go too far, but yeah,
No.
I won't go there. But
Yeah,
but if we agree that that's the game we play, then yeah. And and also important if there are fail safes. If I can say, hey, I don't like that bit. Okay, stop. We stop fighting. We reevaluate the rules, right? That's how we do that. And then we can go rough. If there's if we know the stops and the no and the trust and the the safe words, if you will, right? Then
I was absolutely in sex territory right now.
that is, yeah, that is, it is. But that's it. I mean that's what like that's rough sex is like that also. It involves pain, man, but it's also well that is kind of like pleasure, and then the way the conflict we described and had was about long-term prosperity, about knowing each other better. It was not about short-term because it wasn't very pleasurable. But in a way it is like I can really find pleasure in these. I think I'm maybe you speak about it in worse terms than I do. I think I'm quickly amused if I see that there's a game that's going well. Yeah, I really don't mind the pain. I'm like, okay, let's play, and that's it. It's you're on the same side, and I've seen fights that should have been taken from the same side. That's like marriage, relationship, all that, right? That's like you take it from the same side. You don't fight against each other because there's a premonition that you're together, and so like you're hurting yourself if you hurt somebody else. And well, if you bring that up to humanity level, then that's the fucking big thing we are kind of talking about aiming at. But that's really hard to feel and grasp. So it's easier with very good friends and relationship partners and so on. If you come at it from the same side, yeah, you can take a fight. It's like go to a fucking boxing gym. There are people like proper punching each other, but they agree that that's the game they play. That's fine. Like you think fucking
They actually need each other.
yeah,
Like
like you
other.
what do you think like Conor and Floyd are doing, right? Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. You think they're like they don't know like they're both minted even more after a fight. But they fuck each other up good because they know that's the game. That's their high stakes. And after that, they both are millions richer. And that's the game they want to play. Like, fucking hell. Or more, like, okay. People want to see it. It's perfect. Yeah. I mean,
No, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, they're yeah, and but then they need each other, like in the also in the foundational part of it. Like there is no boxing without the other. It's so interesting. Like you need the that's interesting with the rivalry, right? And
rivalry,
that's
yeah.
just like no, you want rivalry. That's great, but you need the other. And then you have this perverted rivalry where you get hooligans, right?
Yeah.
When they want to kill the other person, like no, you don't want to kill them. You want to like kind of nourish them almost
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's
They're
great to
your
have.
esteemed rival. Yeah.
Yes,
You need it.
yeah. I mean, it's and then it is, but it's such an interesting tipping point because it leads to hate very easily. But it's like that's no. It's
That,
you. Like it is literally it is like the dark and the light side, right? It's with from in my case it's Ajax and Feyenoord, right? In the Dutch league, it's so funny. It's like yeah, it's and when you're for Feyenoord, Feyenoord is the light side, and then Ajax is the dark side, and when you're Ajax is like It's like it's like the bigger you get, and the other gets bigger, and the fight is. You had these epic, Barcelona, Real Madrid Clásicos when Messi was at the height of his powers and Ronaldo was at the height of his powers. And so you had the two biggest clubs and you had the two biggest players, and they also, for me, they exemplified different parts of like Messi is a very different type of power like Ronaldo is. So there was these, and then you had Guardiola, who was all for fast movement, and then you have like Mourinho, who's all like defense and compact, and you have the opposites, and they were like building off each other, and it was brilliant, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And the flames just got high as fuck, right?
yeah,
And that's what you want, and then you don't want it because you want to win, but you kind of it's so, and if you can truly see that this is the same because the whole is the two sides together. What you said, I love the thing you said. It's we're on the same side. Like in essence, your biggest rival is on the same side, and if you can embrace that, it's a very healthy mode of being. And well, it's everything we talked about. It is never not this way. It is never not this way. It's just an crazy engorgation, whatever that word is, manifested in football or boxing or whatever.
or
But
religion,
it's
because
a religion. It's everywhere, and it's yeah. But it and the most and so maybe to what we've been talking about all this time, and it's in us,
yeah,
right? And it's in us.
yeah,
Embrace your rival.
yeah. Wow, that's it. Yeah, that's the thing. That's it. Good spit.
Good spittle. Is there something in your beard left? Some shit spittle and
I had quite
some
a
meat.
bit coming at me here, but I don't. It's not meefing too much here. It's pretty spit, not much meef. mm.
Okay. Yes.
Shall we bring it down as we do?
To a close.
I could definitely sit still for 5 or so.
I have to take a piss.
I can do that too. But yeah, I would love to. Are you down to meditate for a moment? To bring it.
Yeah. It's yeah. Okay. That's probably smart.
Okay, after the
I'm not.
piss break.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Let's do the piss break.
Nice. Wow. It's quite something. What a ride.
Yeah, quite. What time is it? It's
11:30.
3 hours, right?
Yeah. Seems like the spirit did show up in the end.
A little bit.
The,
There are no people watching anymore, I guess.
I don't know. It's quite possible that people are watching.
Mm.
I see, let's see. I see 4 viewers. There's a thing called lurkers in the Twitch universe. People who watch and do not chat. And given the fact that we were in our own contained space here, and there are not, when they're like on Twitch, when there are like hundreds or thousands of viewers, they become like this chatty wave, and they always chat. But with low viewer numbers, that doesn't really happen. So, but you never know. That's what I love. You never know who's listening and who's, being touched in a way. So it's still worth doing it, even without the resonances between us. That's what counts, right?
Yeah, no, sure. Yeah.
It's definitely a bit unusual, but I feel great about the possibility that somebody is watching and enjoying the spit and the meef.
I
Yeah,
mean, what is spit without meat, man?
yeah, not
Also,
much.
meat without some spit. It's yeah, it's kind of like maybe you've heard about this story on embracing rivalry.
Yeah, it's almost like they go hand in hand. Like almost like they like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
can you
like
imagine
a
a type of
dynamic balance or something.
dynamic balance? Yeah, that's quite a way to say it. It's like they are one, they need each other, they couldn't be, but then, what you're holding, I can't see you anymore. What you're holding something in your camera is blocked. Uh, or there's also, right? There is something, I think. Yeah. Anyway, shall we sit and say goodnight?
Yeah,
6 minutes? 7 minutes?
really? Oh,
Too long for you? 3? 4?
3. Because I will do a meditation, a good one before I go to sleep, I think. And this is just the cool. Is it okay? 3
Absolutely, my friend.
to do the cooling down. Yeah, that might be very.
I I don't usually meditate at night, so after this run, I definitely need it. I definitely need it. Okay, 3 it is.
I will teach you a meditation technique next time. A yap one.
Yeah? Nice. Very nice. Okay, I'll press play on this player. I don't know if it has a pre-timer. Where
This
can I
is so
see?
spiritual.
So it is. Oh, 30 seconds warm up. Don't know how to turn that off. Oh, wait. Actually, let me see if this has a. Starting bell, yes, but does it have. Sorry, man. Hey, isn't there a default ending bell? Oh, there is an ending bell. Starting bell. Okay. And why is there this app? Why? When did it get so bad?
Yeah,
How
there's
do I?
money.
My God. How do I turn off the pre timer? Okay, whatever. Let's just do it. 30 seconds, and then 3, and then let's get out of here.
Let's get out of this shit. Let's get
God.
out of the stream, man. We gotta get our asses out of the stream.
Yeah, the current is pulling the now.
The current is too nowy.
Ah, shit. It's really funny. I have my iPad here, and everything there is 20 seconds delayed. So it's like looking into the past 20 seconds ago. That's really trippy. I've never seen myself meditate like that, you know? Like truly. It was hilarious. Amazing. It's pretty funny here anyway, actually. Yeah, a quick picture of that and then we can close it. Because there are like 4 instances of us here visible to me. It's very funny. Oh, so good. All right. Any last words from you, my
Uh,
friend?
well, I would say I love the word lurkers. So to all the lurkers that may have are still around, thank you for watching our stream. I hope we haven't been pissing too much in it, and it has became and it has still stayed a little bit clear and clean and drinkable, potable, potent potables.
Potion.
Uh, so yeah, it was. I had a time.
I had quite a time. Good to be good to be back on the ride, man. We haven't done true mischief in a while, so it's funny. But okay, yeah. Thank you very much,
Yeah.
and until the next time.